What are you doing right now?
The big V. Look, man.
All right, man. Let's just jump right into this shit.
I made my wife wake up and drive me there anyway.
You...
¿Es a major?
Pasa con eso? Pasa con español?
¿Qué pasó, papá? ¿Cómo estás? Any questions?
Now, when you bought that sweater, right? You just go, fuck it. I'm going full Mr. Rogers. You've tuned into the Man Chatter podcast.
And we're live.
All right, motherfuckers, we are back. This is episode 108, man. We got one of my oldest friend and Jonathan, and one of my other oldest friends, Danny. He's the one with the beard, drinking water in a tank top, looking like he's in fucking Afghanistan, like going through some shit. What up, D? How you been, son?
I'm good, man. I'm here. Happy to finally be on the show. I'm one of your longest listeners, you know that. Back when you used to have your Chronicles of Drax.
Yeah, for real. Damn, I did have the story of Drax's, bro. That was
man. I used to sit through all them shit, so there you go.
Yeah, man. So how you dealing with this social distancing quarantine shit, bro? Like, I'll bring Jonathan in later. Motherfuckers over here, so he'll be all
right. I got two kids, so it's a little rough just because, my daughter, she sees that I'm home all the time. She's not used to it. Usually when I'm home, that means it's playtime. So now it's like playtime 24/7. So she wakes up early, wakes me up early. My son doesn't want to go to sleep at night, so he goes to sleep late. I'm not really getting much sleep, but, it's cool. Got the whole I'm losing weight because there's nothing else to do. So it's either you're going to lose a lot of weight or you're going to gain a lot of weight. Let's see how long this goes. But that's working out, and I got a tan. So, getting paid.
Yeah,
get a tan.
Yeah, for sure.
Your boy Jonathan's not like he has much of a tan.
No. This light doesn't help.
Jonathan's in Ohio. I don't think Jonathan. Yeah, Jonathan doesn't see the sun. When was the last time you saw the sun, Jonathan? Last week?
Yeah, when I went out for groceries about a week ago. Yeah, last Saturday. No, I've been walking the dogs, but yeah, you don't see the sun over here. The sun fucking goes and it hides the entire winter.
Quarantine. Like, you guys aren't leaving your house.
No, yeah, this was one of the first states, I think New York and Ohio, where the governor said we're going to have a shelter in place and don't go out unless you need to go to get essentials, groceries, gas, if you have to go to work, go to the hospital, that's about it. So people don't leave their house. You go out, exercise, go for a run, walk your dogs, whatever, but, shut down the restaurants over here like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. So all these people in the service industry, they've been home for a couple of weeks. And
I think that's who got hit the hardest, no? Restaurants and stuff like that?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, the waiters got to be suffering.
Yeah, some of these smaller restaurants are going to have to shut down. I don't know if they have the money to actually, kind of weather this 2, 3, 4 week closure. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with those smaller places.
And it's probably going to go longer than that.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, like I was asking. I think I asked you, Danny, in our group chat on WhatsApp, but I wanted to ask Jonathan too. Where do you guys see this thing possibly ending? Right, because it's a highly infectious disease, right? And going up and up, and you basically have to go back to normal once we're back at. So when can that possibly be? You know what I mean? Like, because as long as one person has it, everybody's. You know what I mean? Possibly.
Well, Trump suggested that they quarantine the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, right? Don't let anybody out. Keep them in there because the flights keep coming in to Florida, and the numbers are starting to skyrocket here in Florida. So they want to quarantine the tri-state area. Now, the New York governor says that he will sue. No, I'm sorry. He's going to sue Rhode Island because something's going on with Rhode Island. But either way, nobody's happy about quarantining the tri-state area, but I think that's a great idea. If they're the ones that are most infected, why are they going to let them keep going out and start infecting other states?
True.
But I have no idea when this is ever going to end.
Yeah, like I don't know. Yeah, and I was actually talking about that with my wife, and I was like, man, why is it that New York has got hit the most? And it's one of those things where like common sense doesn't hit you until somebody slaps you with it. She's like, well, it's because everybody commutes in New York is public transportation. Mm-hmm. And everybody's on subways. You know what I mean? That's
try to stop the spread.
I hadn't thought about that.
to try to stop the spread, what they did is that they lowered the number of trains that were commuting and working. So I feel
Mhm.
like they did that with good intentions, but it kind of backfired because now all the trains that do work are extra crowded because
Yep.
you don't get to spread out, right? You got to catch those few trains that there are. So every time you do get on a subway now, it's extra crowded.
Right.
So I mean, I'm assuming that they did that with good intentions, but it's backfiring because everybody's contaminating each other up on those subways.
Yeah, nah, absolutely. John,
Well, I
you
mean,
got some?
no, it's the same reason why Seattle and California, and LA or California were the first big areas where they had these outbreaks because they're just big travel hubs, right? Seattle and LA, that's where all these international flights come in. I'm surprised Chicago didn't have more cases because that's another big travel hub. And New York, one,
Yep.
the public transportation, and two, they also have a lot of flights coming in. And it's just crazy because the idea of sheltering in place, I think when you first think about it, makes sense. But New York, I think it's probably one of those. Well, it depends. One of those places where you can have multi generational families living. I know Italy as a country is like that,
Yep.
but just the time that we're living in right now, where where the economy was before this whole COVID-19 thing, right? You already had more multi generational families living together, and it was just a matter of time. Like if someone's infected and people are living together, they're just going to continue to spread it around in that household, and then you limit the amount of trains that are going in and out. So when they're able to take them, everyone's going to jump on it. I don't think that you can ever. I don't know. Like Danny said, it was a good idea, but I don't know if it was really thought out, or they didn't really see the consequences of it. I mean, there's only so much you can do, right? They had to do something to react, and Ohio's different. We have the shelter in place thing too, but public transportation here is not like New York, right? It's just like Miami where you have the buses that are it's pretty spread out, but mostly everyone
Mm-hmm.
takes their own vehicle. And so we're not affected in that way because everyone keeps to themselves. They drive their car to wherever they're going and that's it. In New York is a whole nother beast.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Yeah.
Mardi Gras just had it happen in New Orleans, and all of a sudden those numbers are spiking, and they're assuming that it has a lot to do with that.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, you have when you have a collection of people like here, we had spring break that you know what I mean that could have been like canceled out or whatever it is. Like you'll see numbers spiking with that. You have the cruises still coming in with like infected people and still being able to dock and like all this man is it's just it's too many for like it's I'm not even gonna it's too many moving parts to control every aspect and avenue of it. Right,
This
because there's
country's too
too many
large.
ways to commute to places. Yeah, it's way too many ports. There's way too much shit. So it's just it. But I still and I asked everybody who's come on the podcast, right? I still do not comprehend for the life of me. And everybody goes, "Oh, it's you do it to like to control something." Dude, the toilet paper thing. Like I went today to Walmart, still completely empty. Still nothing. You know what I mean? Still
Yeah,
nothing to grab. Still, it's still ridiculous, bro. How's it over there by you, D?
socks, socks.
Is that what you buying?
Worst case scenario, use your socks.
Yeah.
No, no, I'm good. I got enough.
I mean, it's weird, bro. Like
But
I don't understand it. I haven't had any issue with it. You know, you should just take a shower. You're good. Like, don't stress it. I don't get it. I don't know, man. It's fucking weird.
is it just on my end, or I can't hear
Fucking
Ben
weird.
anymore?
Ben, you're stuck in 1915 with that internet. It's hard to you come in and out sometimes. It's not on your end. Ben just hasn't.
Okay.
Yeah,
He's not living in the same
Okay.
century as we are.
Oh, okay, okay.
He's got that
yeah. No, I'm
backwoods
in a different
internet.
time. Yeah,
I said Ben
literally.
texting, and then I didn't hear what you
I'm
said in
literally.
reply.
I'm just saying that you could just take a shower and wash your ass. You don't really. The point of just like
Well,
is
what
weird.
happened was once the Rudy Gobert thing went down, my ass went to Publix immediately because that's when I knew shit was about to go down. So I bought
Yeah,
toilet paper, milk, water, eggs. I bought everything because I knew everything was about to start happening. If a professional athlete
yeah,
has
for
it,
real.
it's about to go down.
Yeah.
And a couple minutes later, they shut down the league, and then the next day, all hell broke loose. So I'm still good. If you need some paper, come pick some up.
I'm not driving down there, son. That's honestly not happening. I'll be all right. I got a manguera in the backyard, bro. I'm straight. I'll make some things happen. But dude, like it's
You live in
how
Narnia. You
so
could
with
just poop in the.
yeah, just dig a hole, bro. I'm good. Dig a hole and make sure I use the right leaves. I'm
There
straight.
you go. You have poisonous leaves out there?
Yeah, absolutely. Luckily, Melanie was like a Girl Scout, and she knows what leaves not to wipe your ass with because there's like poison ivy and poison oak. I think like two different ones. Had no idea, and she like if it's red, don't mess with her, some shit like that.
Hmm.
So I'm good. So if it ever comes
If
down
it's
to
red,
that,
you're dead.
I,
Is that like
I don't
one
know
of
if
the
you're
things?
red, you're
Yeah.
dead, but if it's I'm more like red, you're swollen for sure. Like poison ivy in your asshole. It's definitely not something. It's not an experience anybody wants for
So,
sure.
Jonathan, you stayed in Ohio?
Yeah, man. I've been here since 2016, almost 4 years now.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
where in Ohio?
Cleveland, or one of the suburbs right outside of Cleveland. Yeah, yeah. That's the same face I made. But I was I was getting ready to leave the army, and I applied to a couple different places, and I got a couple offers. One out in Cali and Barstow, because I work in the public sector, so the the places that I applied to, they're not. I probably could have found a job in New York City, but I wasn't about to go live in New York City with the cost of living. So the sector I work in, I got a couple offers. One in Barstow, which is the middle of nowhere. It's 2 hours from LA, but it's still
Nothing.
the middle of nowhere. And then the other one was
Yes.
Cleveland. So we came over here to check out Cleveland for a week, and it was the summer, and it was nice. I won't lie to you, I liked it. The downtown here is a really small downtown.
Yeah, but you came during the summer though.
No, 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 I know, but I came well aware of what the winter is like up here for sure. Like I knew what I was
Yeah,
getting
but
myself
like you
into.
said, you were in the middle of nowhere in California. You're literally in nowhere right now in Cleveland.
I'm not defending it, man. I'm not defending it. It is what it is. This is where I'm at. But there are buildings, there are other people. If you're in Barstow, there's not a soul around. It's just desert. That's in the middle of nowhere, literally.
No, yeah,
Cleveland is just not, it's meaningless, so it doesn't matter anyway. So I might as well be in the middle of nowhere. But
Yeah.
and you know
well,
what? It was
California is
bearable.
tricky. I didn't realize how.
Go ahead.
I didn't realize how isolated California, some parts of California are. I drove from Vegas to California,
Yeah,
and for the first, I don't know how many 100 miles, there's absolutely nothing when you enter California. It's all
nothing.
on the coast.
Yeah,
I
yeah. I
had
was
no idea.
yeah I was in Monterey for 7 months, and that was I think like 5 hours from LA and an hour and a half south of San Francisco. And Monterey itself is nice. You have Big Sur out there, but a lot of California is just open, like just mountains and open space and desert. Yeah, it's a lot of nothingness out there. So it's nice, but between Barstow and Cleveland, I decided to come to Cleveland. And I mean, at the time, my wife was still in the army. My oldest son was junior in high school, and so
Yeah.
for like a
Yeah.
yeah, for like a year and some change, I just commuted back and forth.
God damn, how old are you, man?
I'm 36, man. I got started early. What can I say?
Holy crap!
Yeah, he's got a 20-year-old, bro. Yeah.
Jesus, you gotta.
So no play.
Wow, I
Yeah.
was not expecting that.
Thank God none of his kids look like him.
Oh man,
Jesus.
this dude again.
All his kids are taller than him too. Man, I'm never gonna let that go, bro. But son, your Javi is taller than you. 11? 12?
Javi is not taller than me. He
Yeah,
will be.
yeah, he is.
He reminds me that every day that
Every-
he went to the doctor and the doctor told him he was going to be taller than me. But he won't. He's not yet. So,
He will. He will be. So let's go. All right, we're done with the coronavirus madness and all the shit. We've talked about that all the time. Now, what the hell were you doing? What is that? Public library? Is that a public
No, no,
library mug?
this is the life that I live. Look at the mugs that I have to drink out of.
It's the most. You don't have a men's mug? Like you can't even get Gaston, nigga. Like you out here?
That,
You
that,
out here?
that, that's
Is that Bell? Is that Bell?
that's the difference between having a 20-year-old, 20-year-old boy and a 3-year-old girl. This is my life.
That's
I'm a
absolutely
girl dad.
terrible. There you are. What was I gonna say? So, damn, what was I gonna say? Oh, for Javi, man.
what about Javi?
What were you producing?
He was after some time, I guess we finally convinced him to, because he's into arts and creating and acting and doing all this stuff and singing, and so he was playing. He just played some of that song, "Say Something." So it was just on the keyboard on the piano, and he was playing it and singing it. So we recorded it and just going over the vocals and stuff that he just recorded a couple hours ago.
I'm gonna need a video of this motherfucker singing, man.
Yeah.
Well, he's Filipino, right? He has the Bruno Mars look to him too.
Yeah.
So
World premiere tonight at midnight. Don't worry, it's dropping tonight.
Yeah, dropping tonight, 1 million views.
But yeah, that's what I was
Danny,
doing.
On the other spectrum, your daughter jumped off a step and broke her face. What happened there?
No, she's reckless. She just dances and falls.
Oh, okay. So
she was dancing and she wears some slippery socks and just busted her.
Ah, damn. What was it?
She's constantly getting hurt, and people are saying that boys are crazier than girls. So I can't even wait till my boy starts walking and doing dumb shit.
Jonathan, you got two boys, man. Are boys crazy, or your boy is pretty regular, normal?
Man, I'm just so glad I don't have girls. I have friends that have girls. I'd rather deal with all the crap that boys give you any day. Yeah, they're all right. It's a lot easier to deal
being
with.
Being a girl dad is pretty awesome.
I'm sure it is.
But
it's awesome.
I feel like there's a huge factor.
But there's a but in there somewhere.
Come on, we're waiting for
it. Yeah.
Come on.
But I'm sure she's 3 now, so in 10 years, I'm sure it's gonna be a lot different.
Yes.
But there's nothing like when right now I just put her to bed, and when she goes to bed, she likes to put her head on my chest, and that's how I put her to sleep. It's the best.
Yeah, just think about that. In 10 years, it's gonna be another dude.
But for now, it's good. Yeah.
In 10 years, it's gonna be someone else's chest.
No, in 10 years, she better not be going to sleep there. It's a different story.
Gonna bring that ass home. Bring that ass home.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Yeah. So
all right, let's get to the nitty-gritty of it. No, definitely not. Definitely not. I don't even want to I can't even imagine what that's gonna be like for you. Let's get into Tiger King, bro. Let's fucking do it. We were supposed to do this podcast a couple days ago. Y'all got kids. Scheduling is always a bitch. And I got 1880s internet, so we all try to figure this out. What did y'all think about Tiger King, man? Jonathan, give me your 2-minute recap review, because you binged it all in one day while getting paid.
I binged it all yesterday while working from home. Yeah, that's right. Holy shit! First of all, if you want to know what this quarantine and this COVID-19, the effect that it's having. There's no sports. There's no UFC. There's no basketball at night. I can't watch highlights in the morning. That's what I'm doing when I'm working from home. I'm watching 7 episodes of some crazy ass dude in Oklahoma that's raising tigers, and sending an even crazier dude to go kill. This lady lives by you, right? Carol Baskin. She lives like 5 miles from you in Tampa, right?
She lives like 35 minutes from me.
Yeah, she's your neighbor. That was insane. And I thought, I saw it. I heard about it 2-3 days ago, and I said, I'm not going to watch this. Come on. I don't watch reality TV. This doesn't look like a real documentary. It's like a mock documentary, and I got sucked in after the first 10 minutes, first 5 minutes of that episode. I couldn't stop watching it.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not the reason why I worked late, because I was working while I was watching it, but I'm just glad I had something else to do. Yeah, that was nuts, man. That was nuts, and I definitely think that she fed her husband to the tigers. I definitely think that her current husband, Howard, that dude, you saw the pictures of him in like a leopard or a tiger jumpsuit onesie with a collar around his neck.
With the chain around his neck?
Yeah, he's going to be the next one that's going under that septic tank. I mean, it was entertaining.
Dude, that shit.
And then I've been reading articles about it ever since, because I've been doing Google searches along the lines of, is Carol Baskin evil? Is she a criminal? Did she really kill her husband? I just went down the Google and YouTube rabbit hole trying to find articles, and they're out there. And, it's been an entertaining last 24 hours, last 36 hours or so.
D, what you got, man? I know you
While
were
you're watching
threatened earlier by your wife.
the first episode. Oh no, yeah, because I don't know. She's on some other shit, saying that she likes this chick. But when you're watching the first episode, aren't you thinking, isn't she doing the same exact thing as the Tiger
Right.
King?
Yes,
That's
yes,
literally what I kept thinking.
immediately the entire time I was thinking that.
Now
I was
it
like,
changes a
she's
little bit
no better.
because supposedly she doesn't breed them. And that's why it's different. But she's still charging.
Mhm.
She doesn't pay her
Mhm.
employees because she has a bunch of volunteers doing it.
Right. Genius.
Like she's
Yep.
banking.
Yes, pocketing
But
all the money.
That like I started watching it because I had a couple people. I think you might have also recommended it to me. But I had a couple people recommend it to me. I had no idea what it was. I thought it might be a comedy or some type of series. I had no idea it was a documentary. I just went and I clicked on it. Man, was I surprised.
Yeah.
It's a guy that raises tigers, ran for president, ran for governor, married 2 straight guys at the same time.
Yeah.
And then he hired somebody to kill some lady that was it's the most amazing story I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But
With the
really,
mullet.
but Jeff Lowe, that's a real
he's a
criminal.
musician.
Those
Yes,
music
and-
videos.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
But he's the most sane one out of all of them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Everybody else is crazy,
Yeah.
but he's an asshole, but he was the most sane one there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he cut a deal for sure, right? Because he was more involved than what you can even see in that documentary or what they showed in the docuseries. Like there's a lot of shit that you don't see there that he's involved in that I'm sure he cut some kind of deal. Because at the end of the day, Joe Exotic, that he was smart enough to set up this whole traveling zoo and his zoo in Oklahoma, but murder for hire and doing I think Jeff Lowe had his hand in that pot for sure.
Yeah. like it was weird because the guy that he paid to hire was Jeff Lowe's guy, right? Like I'm looking at this shit, I'm like, obviously, like, look, I watched a bunch of like the Making a Murder documentaries. Like documentaries have a weird thing where like everybody has their perspective, right? So they edit shit out to make it look one thing. But I'm just looking at it like if one guy goes, yeah, man, I brought Jeff Lowe brought me on. Yeah, I came here because of Jeff Lowe. Okay, they're automatically, you know what I mean, a team. Like they're working together in whatever they do because he got you the job is to hook up, yada yada yada. So I was like, why would you hire that guy? And then on tape, like the voice recordings has him saying like what to do. You know what I mean? It sounded more like Jeff Lowe was coordinating it. I didn't hear a single conversation of Joe Exotic talking to the guy in the bathtub. I don't remember his name because he's terrifying.
Alan something.
Yeah, Alan. I can't remember his last name.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I missed something, and you guys can like fill me in. They said he hired this guy, but if I remember correctly, like an episode or 2 before, they were both talking about how much they hated each other.
Yes.
And this is while they were still working, right? You hear him like complaining about how he doesn't do what I want, and this guy's calling Jeff's like, hey, I'm gonna fucking kill this guy because I'm not gonna do shit. I don't work for him.
Right.
So at what point are they getting together to kill a lady? Like, it made no sense to me. I didn't see that connection. They didn't explain it.
That's actually a great point. I hadn't thought about that till you said it. Like he's saying like how he hates him. He's like he's the dumbest dumbest motherfucker on the planet, just bashing him. And then I'm thinking, oh, if I wanted to have somebody killed, this is the person I'm gonna go with. The one who absolutely hates me and despises everything. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna. First of all, no, right? Like that wouldn't happen. But I wouldn't go with that guy who you're constantly bashing. It's the craziest documentary like series I've seen. But Abducted in Plain Sight still, I don't know if you've seen that one, Danny. Abducted in Plain Sight clearly beats
No, I don't think
that
so.
as far as madness. I wouldn't recommend it because you got kids, especially like, you know what I mean, little kids. I wouldn't recommend it because you.
Well, let me tell you something.
Insane.
Ben recommended this show to me, and he's like, hey, don't worry about it. You can watch it with your kids. Okay.
Oh, yeah. My bad.
So
Better for the kids.
I watched the first couple of episodes with just my wife.
Mm-hmm.
The next day, I'm really into it, so I was like, I'll play the next episode while my kids are here. The 3 guys getting married, all kissing each other. Come on, Ben.
Oh no, different show. I recommended Letter for the King, not Tiger King. Letter for the King is like a six episode thing where it's kind of like the main actor looks like Drake when he was a little kid. That's the one I recommend. Tiger King is definitely
Not for the
definitely
kids.
not for the kids in any way. Yo, that dude, That dude had them straight dudes so high, turned them gay, bro. Like that's the wildest.
Hey, when you're a meth addict and you got someone that's just constantly keeping you on, giving you that meth, because that his first husband, John.
Yeah,
I mean, he had three
the
teeth,
teeth.
right? He had three
Yeah.
teeth, and they were pointing like all sorts of crazy directions because that's where meth concentrates in the teeth. Like I don't know how much meth that dude was doing, but he didn't care if he had to be straight, gay, whatever. Like he was getting his meth one way or another. And I don't know what it must have been.
You know what my favorite part was?
Which
What was it?
My favorite part was how Joe figures out how straight these guys are. It's like when you're watching porn, you
Yeah.
like to see big peepees in the vaginas or little peepees in the vaginas.
I guess you ain't that
You
straight.
like big peepees? You're not that straight. Like, yeah. Like, okay, all right.
Wow, that's a hell of a setup right there.
Hey Ben, when you're watching porn,
Yeah,
I
that's
never
so.
really considered that question. I don't know.
I never. Well, we. Why would we? Right? Like, why
That's
we
a hell of a
ever
mind fuck.
consider, like- yeah, dude. Like, what do you do there? Where you're like, hey man, you look at the big ones or the little ones? Oh, you look at the big ones and you might be gay. What? How is this? What kind of poll is this? What kind of how is this the bar? Like,
Yeah.
what? All right.
Let me tell you
I
something.
don't know.
You answer that question, and then you feed him some meth, and that's it.
And that's it. Yeah.
And
You got him
you
down
marry him,
himself. You get him high, and he's like, you know what? Yeah, that's it.
dude.
Yeah,
How
but
crazy was it?
Go
How
ahead.
crazy was it that the? No, go ahead. I'll jump in after because we were still talking about the meth thing.
Oh
You
no, I
gotta
was
talk
saying,
about, like, how
but
that
those
crazy-
those two straight dudes were still just like sleeping with all the chicks that they could find. Right, one was sleeping with some of the people that would visit the park, the cashier, the hostess. Like that came out in like episode 4 or 5. I don't remember which
You got her
one.
pregnant.
So he got one of them pregnant. So they weren't they weren't that good. They're like, I'll do what I gotta do for this meth. But
I feel like meth is an underrated hell of a drug because
Right.
you're like it'll make you fuck dudes, but then you'll get the cashier pregnant, and then like the cashier is just cool with it, like she just understands. Like, yo, I know this is weird, babe, but I gotta go fuck Joe Exotic now, and then I'll be back to raise her 2-month-old. Like, how is that? How and she's just like cool with it? Like, how does that even work, bro? That's just wild, absolutely wild.
And and I haven't heard too many people talk about the fact that this guy puts padlocks on his dick.
yeah, he did
Did
mention
that
that,
go
right?
over other people's heads?
He said he's had that
Yeah, no, what?
for 17, 18
'Cause I
years.
saw it.
The Prince Henry, what was it? What's the name of the
Prince
piercing?
Edward.
Yeah, and then that he
Prince Edward?
puts the
Prince
padlocks on
Albert.
there. The Prince Albert,
Prince Albert.
one
Yeah.
of those fucking princes. And then that he puts padlocks on there. No, I didn't miss that. I caught that for sure.
Dude, there's the thing with it, son. Like, there's so much going on in that documentary. It's hard to process it all because they're just throwing shit at you.
Does it get more
Like-
American than the Tiger King though?
No,
That
that
was
is
the
the
dream.
American dream, bro. Now,
I
did
wish he would've
anybody
won
else?
governor of Oklahoma?
He was third, bro. How crazy is that? I know he lost by but still to be third out of like 16, like that's crazy.
Were you looking at the
That would've been
votes though when they showed him? Like he was getting 19%, 20 something percent in some precincts. Like
Yeah.
they would show screen
Yeah.
captures. I was like, people are voting for this dude. They're taking him seriously.
Yeah,
It's
dude,
a
it was
dream.
crazy.
Well,
Now,
did you hear some of the people that were voting for him? They're like, oh, well, basically what a Trump supporter say.
Right.
He speaks his
Yes.
mind.
Yep.
He's not gonna conform to the whatever
The establishment,
the
right?
establishment. It's like, okay, I've heard this
Yeah.
before.
yeah, it sounds very similar, and it was the same year because it was 2016. Now, I know with the padlocks, you kind of missed that. How crazy was it that like they literally have on film and they showed it where a guy blew his brains out, and then he just like the next scene is Carol Baskin talking about, oh no, you wouldn't have. If you wanted somebody to get attacked, you wouldn't give them perfume. You'd give them sardine oil. Everybody knows that. Wait a second, bitch. Who just who's this everybody? Everybody just knows that? Sardine oil is what gets tigers to attack? That's okay. Well shit. You definitely killed your husband. I had forgotten about you. That shit was
Yeah, it's easy to
It
forget
was
about
mad.
it, right? Because she plays like
she
the
seems
same.
like she's definitely off the hinges.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a sociopath for sure. She looks like she's playing the saint and she's helping the animals. And maybe I know they said she did breed them in the 90s. She used to breed them just like this dude Joe
Yeah.
Exotic did, and then she went from breeding them to do. I mean, pretty much doing the same shit. She buys them from other breeders, and then she brings them to her sanctuary, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
But they, I mean, it's not a very open space that she's got them in. She's got them in these confined cages. I'm not sure what she's doing that's any better than that dude who had 18 wives. What was his name? Doc something
Dog
out in South
Antil.
Carolina.
Dog Antil.
Doc
Ooh, I was
Ant.
just about to bring him up.
That dude,
He's the Tiger King.
for sure. I
Yes.
mean, he has.
Yes.
Nobody fucks with him.
No. No. Son,
Yeah.
he has a compound of bitches. Like
Yeah.
each chick was like in a different house, and they all work for him. That he doesn't pay them. They work 12 hours a day. I need that documentary, and I need the Cuban drug dealer.
And he
fucking
pays
the
for their
original
implants.
Scarface. Yeah, exactly. And the original drug dealer in Miami. That guy had the best setup out of all of them.
Yeah, he
Like
did.
if you look at like the scale of what they have, Carol Baskin has the worst setup for her animals. Everybody else had the best one, and she's, you know, what I mean, you look at that. That shit was like pathetic. That shit looked like fencing from Walmart, bro. Like that didn't look any kind of good for, you know what I mean. Like she had the worst setup. It was. I need a Tiger King 2 and 3. I need next one to be Doc Ansel, and then part 3 to be the Tiger King Tony Montana.
Yeah,
Because that guy.
That dude had
Mario
a,
Tableau.
he had a real compound. You come up to that gate and they're like, no, this is private property. Get the fuck out. You don't have an appointment.
Yeah.
Turn your ass around.
Yeah. That's what I need to see. I need the sequels right now, bro. I need 2 and 3 right now. Fuck. Just have them on deck. Drop them.
Oh shit.
Who
Well, the Carol
Who'd you go
Baskin
with,
thing
Dan?
really threw me off because she had them literally in cages, literally in
Yes.
cages, and she was saying they don't deserve to be in cages, as they're showing them in cages. There
Yeah.
has to be something that she can do because if she's this much of an advocate, like you can get
Yeah.
them like shipped off somewhere else where they can like roam free. Like contact Ben, he lives in Narnia. They let him run wild in the backyard. She literally has him in cage. Like it makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out if
I
that
didn't-
was just those cages were just for feeding time and they came out there, but they never showed anything else where she had open space for them to roam. All you saw was cages, like rusted out. They looked like they were falling apart. Weeds growing out to as tall as me, which maybe is not that tall, but still, it just looked like the place wasn't being taken care of. And then she's got 300 people or 200 people working for free, like volunteers, which is the biggest racket. And I mean, when they were explaining the level of commitment and how you get a navy blue shirt and a royal blue shirt, she's like, "Oh, the interns, I don't even see them till they've been here for a while. Like, fuck those kids. I don't know who they are until they've committed like 4 or 5 years of their time." And I'm like, these people are spending 2, 3, 4 years working whatever days they're working. One lady says she doesn't take Christmas. She's like, "Oh, Christmas? No, I don't do that." Blew my mind.
They were all cults, bro. All of them. Because like in that same span, that's when they're showing like the Doc Antil thing with like with all his women that he gets from like a young age, like young but of age. You know what I mean? Like 18, 19 years old, and they all work for him. And he brainwashes them, changes their name, yada yada yada. In that same exact vein was Carol Baskin with the T-shirt stuff. When I was watching it, I was like, "Yo, this is." You ever seen the documentary Going Clear? That's fucking so that cult that religion cult Scientology, right? Like there's tiers to it, right?
Scientology.
Like it's science. It's the same exact shit. Like there's tiers to Scientology and there's tiers to Carol Baskin with the color shirts, and they all and it's not like at some point they start become paid volunteers or what. They're all volunteers until they die. Like they don't at some point
Whatever
become
he's
staff.
saying, he sounds really animated.
He's not
I'm
hearing
in
you.
it, son. I'm in it right now. Can you hear me? Is it coming through? Because I don't know.
Yeah,
how well
I'm
it's
hearing you
coming.
fine.
Okay, cool. But she scared me the most, man. She scared me the most. I mean, Joe Exotic's living his life in prison with a bunch of dudes, so he's good. I have to turn him gay, so. But Carol Baskin scared me the most, man.
Yeah. It's crazy. All this shit that's being talked about her and or what she's involved in, and she's just got no emotion on her face whatsoever.
Nothing.
Nothing.
There's nothing behind the eyes. Nothing behind the eyes, bro.
Is your hair
Let me
thinning?
know.
All right, we're back. We
You
got
see
this. We got this video figured out.
Yeah, man, my hair is thinning, son. Look at this shit. It's bad. Like this is look. My dad left me when I was 2, but he's taking his hairline 34 years later. Ain't this some shit?
I'm not
Like,
gonna lie, I'm a little
bad,
bit. That
bro.
makes me a little bit happy with all the shit you used to talk to me.
I know, son. Because first of all, your dad, awesome guy, but he was bald as shit the entire time I've known him. I was like, oh, there's your future, right? And then because I barely saw my dad, didn't remember his hairline, right? Then I was like, oh, okay. I saw him a couple years back. I was like, oh, fuck.
Well, I'm not sure if
But my
it's
dad
true, but supposedly it goes along with your mother's genetics.
It does.
That's what I
It
hear.
does. And my mom has a full head of hair, so I have no idea where it's coming from. It doesn't make any sense.
Didn't your mom
So
say you were adopted?
Jonathan's got the best. There's a very good chance. Like there's a chance. Like
He's
my mom
adopted, for
doesn't let
sure.
me. My mom does not let me do the 23andMe. She always has like a little extra commentary. She's like, but do you really need to? I'm like, okay.
Isn't my
well,
love
this is-
enough for you, Benjamin?
A little part of you doesn't
Why
want
do
to
you
do it.
Why do you
because
need to
don't
know?
wanna
You know exactly where you're from. Steven told a funny story on this podcast about how I was born. She found me on the side of a mountain in Panama because my actual biological mother was a low mountain gorilla.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. But yeah, man, tying it up because obviously we had some technical difficulties there with my 1800s internet and all that other shit. Carol Baskin, her thing is definitely more of a cult, just like Scientology, man. Like I don't like I've seen people, and I'll ask it just to play a little bit of devil's advocate, right? Like, are we bashing her just because she was like the only woman on that? Because I know, Danny, I know your wife had a specific kind of take on that, which was a little bit terrifying, right? A different take, where she was like, oh, I like that she was a little crazy. Are we just bashing her because she was the only woman? Because it's not like the men on that show were any better, right? Like one guy drugged teenage boys, you know what I mean? Not 18 and under, but like 18 and over, and fucked them and married them, right? And another guy created cults of women, and the other guy, the one that they barely showed, would like always had a monkey on his shoulder. But she was the scariest one just because of the way she expressed herself for me. Like there was nothing there.
I think it's more along the lines of they kind of introduce this guy in such a unique way that you can't help but be enamored with his hustle,
Right.
and you find them entertaining. Maybe you don't you root for him a little bit. So then you hear about this lady trying to bring him down, and when you realize that she's doing something similar to what he's doing, you can't help but just think of her as the enemy. If she was just straight out like saving these cats and sending them to Africa, I think that people might be on her side a little bit more. But it's like, dude, you're not doing much different. So I think that's where it is. I don't think it has anything to do with the fact that she's the only female on there. I mean, the fact that she killed her husband is
it's a big sign. No, you know what was the moment that sealed it for me that she killed him? Besides later on in the episode as you're watching, when she says like the sardine oil thing, which is a hell of a thing to know. Like, why would you Google search that to know exactly?
No, she doesn't have to Google search that. She raises them also. She knows.
Yeah. So when she goes, oh, when it was like 5 years and 1 day, and I got his death certificate in the mail, and then I just looked at it, and the next thing I remember it was night. Oh, so you have lapses of time, bitch? Like you just like what? Like, and you also didn't let his family go to the funeral. You gave him nothing. Like you have all the motive in the world. This is every fucking how she did it. This is the OJ story right there.
But Joe's stupid though. Like, how's he gonna shoot a dummy, like on his web show? Like he just shot the dummy in the head. He said he's gonna kill her. Like he literally said that
constantly.
And then he goes on Facebook and he's like, "Oh,
All
I
the
found
time.
where the bitch lives."
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing, my guy? Like, if he ever had any intention of really killing her, he's either extremely stupid, or, he had no intention of really killing her because how is he not the first suspect with all the crap that he said or done?
Yes.
I mean, you can use that in his defense, right? Like, why he's like, why would I say all this stupid shit and actually go and kill her, right? Like, why would I
Like,
do that?
Like, he's making himself the obviously suspect number one.
But speaking of funerals, right? Like, what's worse? Not allowing, Carol not allowing her late husband's family to go to the funeral, or Joe and Travis were invited, like
Travis's
just the mom and the sister, and it was just 5 people there to his wedding, to his wedding, and like it's like, well, if Travis's mom is okay with it, then the world should be okay with it too.
I'm not sure why she went.
Yeah, I don't know. Even if she expected 300 people to be there.
It was a regular wedding.
Meth. What are we talking about? It's meth.
Well, she's a meth head also, right?
Yeah, like you look at her and you don't
during the funeral.
She was clapping, yo. Like, it's your son's funeral.
Some weird thing with her face and her mouth. Like, I was like, oh, she's on some meth right now.
No, yeah, dude. Like, it's the most car It's like a car accident pileup on the turnpike, and you're on the other side and you're just staring at it. But it's 7 episodes long, right? Like, you're just in it because there's no part of that. Like, every segment of that entire series is just like, what the fuck am I watching? Oh my god, this can't get any crazier. Yes, you can. Sardine oil kills you with cats. I can't get any worse than this. I got a fat dude that looks like Chucky. You know what I mean? All of a sudden turns criminal informant and then figures out that the guy he's snitching with, like, every part of that is unbelievable. If they didn't have thousands of hours of footage and put it all together, somebody told you that story, you wouldn't believe any of it. Nobody. Like, if there's a guy sitting on a couch telling you the story, you wouldn't believe him. And it could all be true. There's no way. There's no way you believe that person.
No, of course not. Yeah. You start with, he raises cats. He has a mortal enemy that's trying to close him down. He marries a straight guy. Then he marries a second straight guy. He has somebody steal his farm. He then runs for governor. Oh no, he runs for president first.
Yeah,
president. Runs for governor, ends up in 3rd place. Has 2 country albums.
Yeah, and the videos are amazing.
By the way, those were amazing songs. Here, Kitty Kitty. I was talking to my wife. Seriously, I don't listen to country music, but just for that, I might start.
Well, I don't know if you have an iPhone, but it's not on iTunes. I already looked for it.
It's on YouTube.
No, but let's be honest. I don't know if that's him really singing.
Oh no, for sure it can't be him. There's no way it can't be him.
No, that voice wasn't bad. I was like, this guy has a chance.
That's a chance.
He got a chance. I mean, I don't listen to country music that much either, but like, that wasn't that bad.
No. That was look. What I go with, first of all, it couldn't have been him singing, because even when like he sang at his suicided ex-husband's funeral, right in front of the entire family, which is weird enough to begin with. Even that was a little bit off, right? Like, it just, it couldn't have been him. But if it was, holy shit, like, the guy can sing.
Yeah.
Like, those were, when I saw the Here Kitty Kitty like video, like the behind the scenes thing, I thought that was Carol Baskin. I was like, yo, Carol Baskin showed up. Like, she's in the video. Yeah. This is crazy.
He did a good job finding somebody who looked like her.
Yeah, he did.
Oh my. Please find me a middle-aged, overweight white woman to be on this. Got her. Found her at Walmart, aisle 7. She was there the whole time. Oh my god!
And how great is Joe? This chick loses her arm, and he goes over to the customers. Hey, you're gonna hear about it on the news anyway. Somebody stuck their arm in, lost his arm. Get you a refund, rain check, come back later, whatever you want. Just gotta go.
Yeah.
Matter of fact.
Wow.
That's it.
That's it. While wearing an EMS jacket.
Yeah. And what's wrong with that chick? She's like, yeah, I had to go back to work, a couple days later.
I mean, yeah, I was back to work 5 days later. It's fine. No. You got your arm bitten by a tiger.
Yeah, she said no. 2 years of recovery, or chop it off. Like, just chop it off so I can go back to work. What?
Yeah.
No. They're all special, man. They all had their people hooked. Right. Carol with her volunteers. What's his name? Doc Antle with the harem of women that he had. And then Joe with
They
this
were
two
bad.
straight guys that he had them on. He had he talked about the stick and the carrot. Well, he had the stick and a baggie of. He had some meth hanging at the end of the fucking stick. Those dudes are just. If I can just get there, like on a fucking treadmill, like they're just hamsters, just trying.
With the edge of the stick, the bag of meth was held down by a padlock. That's the
Yeah.
worst part about it.
Oh,
Uh,
that padlock.
Yo,
man.
he had like a series of padlocks. I don't want. First of all, I don't want to know like why there's difference. I don't want to know. Like, just leave that. Let's leave that for whoever knows that shit. Good for you. I'm out on that entire conversation of why there's different size padlocks. Don't want to know. So let's just move on to more stupidity that happened in the last 10 days.
He also got married.
John,
Hold on. He also got married 2 months after that dude blew his brains out.
yeah. Yo, how does that guy the guy sitting there? We could talk about this, bro. The guy sitting there like 15 feet from him when he blows his brains out. Just sit like that's got to be the most traumatic shit ever, bro.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
he
you
was
just
shocked. He just stayed there.
Yeah, like wow. I
And you
couldn't
know what the
imagine.
best part is? I mean, I don't know what it looked like, but you see him shocked, and then you see him mouth, Travis. It's like, dude, he just
Yeah.
like, shot his brains out. He's not gonna reply.
He's not coming back from that.
Yeah.
There's a fucking hole in the
He
back
left
of his
one.
head.
He left you on red. That's fucked up.
Well, my
That's
wife's
fucked up.
favorite part was all that expired meat and the pizza that people used to eat. Everybody's like fighting for the expired meat.
Yeah.
Hey,
Some homemade pizza.
we're gonna be fighting for the expired meat here pretty soon. I'm gonna go to that Walmart. What did they call it? Because it's a program, the Walmart donation program, or whatever it's called.
I had
Yeah.
never heard of that before.
They called
I
it
didn't even
something.
know
They
that.
said it one time. I'm like, I'm gonna go get myself a fucking Walmart truck and put that shit in my garage. I got an extra fridge over here.
I got an extra fridge also. For no reason.
Yeah, I got an extra fridge. We're gonna have to figure. We're gonna
I'll
have
eat
to
some
figure that shit
expired
out,
meat.
man. Let's get. I feel like you got to cook it that day, right? Like, you can't. As long as how does it work? Like, as long as it's frozen, it's good. Whatever, like it freezes, thaws. You can't freeze it again. I don't know.
I'll let you
I'm
know.
trying
I'll
to
let you
figure
know
it
how
out.
it turns out. I'll let you
Like,
know if I don't come back
you're
on the
like-
show. That shit wasn't too good.
I'm sure for meth heads it doesn't matter.
No. How do they chew the meat though? They got no teeth. I got so many questions. Like, I have so many questions.
You know what? I am curious to know how his first husband eats.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, like it has to be like the back jaws,
The
right? Like
molars?
the molars.
yeah.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way it's the canines. He didn't have any canines. He didn't like. All he had was the molars. It's the wildest shit, bro.
And tell me it didn't
Wow.
look like if you touch one of those teeth that it would like just move.
Right, like
It
they were
looked like it was,
dangling
like,
there,
pretty
right?
in there. It
Yeah.
looked like it was dangling a little bit.
I thought while he was talking, the teeth would fall out. Like I thought at some there'd be like a footage was like, oops, there it goes again, and he grabs it and puts it back in. You know what I mean? Like
That would have been
I feel like
great.
there's a chance of that kind of footage. That has to be there somewhere. It has to be on the cutting room floor somewhere, bro. It's the craziest documentary ever. Now, Jonathan, I told Danny about you've seen Abducted in Plain Sight, right?
Yeah, yeah. Twice that
Okay.
lady. Twice they let that girl get taken.
Yeah.
Abducted in plain sight.
Yes, it's on Netflix. Now, Danny,
Maybe
look.
I've watched it. I can't think. I can't remember.
No, you would know. You would know, Danny. You would know if you've seen it. There's the 12
just-
minutes in.
Yeah.
I want to say about 12 minutes in. The craziest story you ever hear a man tell about another man happens in that shit. And it's mine.
I've seen it.
You know what I'm talking about? All right,
Yeah.
so we can talk.
Yeah.
That's the craziest shit I've ever the Tiger King is crazy seeing it, but like for a man to admit that, you know what I mean? Like, there's no footage of that. He could have kept that shit to the grave, right? Like, just rolled on with that. And like, he's like, yeah, I was just sitting. He picked me up from work. We went to a parking lot at a park. Like, wait a second, this is
And he
this
banged both
doesn't-
of them.
yeah, bang both the mom and the
Yeah,
dad
I know
and
you're
the,
talking
kid,
about now.
and the kid and the kid.
Yeah.
There was another crazy documentary that it was an evil genius, something like that.
Oh, that was the lady with the. Did you see that one, John? That's the one with the lady that puts people's body in the fridge, and like doesn't know how I
Is
got.
that what it's called? Evil Genius? I think I saw that. I haven't seen it yet. I put it on my
the
list.
first 5 minutes in, somebody explodes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to watch it.
Then the late evil genius had a lot of Carol Baskin vibes, didn't she? like the same kind of look, the same kind of that was like that's the same. That might be a sister bitch like that. Y'all related to some shit. Like this is some weird stuff. All right, man. So the only sports in the last 10 days is John Jones. Danny, I want to get you. Danny and Jonathan, I want y'all take on it, man. What the fuck is wrong with this guy, bro?
What I thought was craziest is that it's happening when everybody's supposed to be quarantined. How do you get a DUI when everything is shut down?
Aggravated DWI. His BAC's blood alcohol content was twice the legal limit. So when it's twice the legal limit, it's like aggravated DWI. Like that means you just went ham, and you're not even supposed to be out in the streets.
But that's what I thought was the craziest. It's like, how stupid could you be to get a DUI when there's supposed to be nobody out in public?
Yep.
Like that guy's a lost cause, and it's sad too because he has so much talent.
Yep. Who would you guys compare him to? Like as far as like other sports like that. Like I'm trying to think of that. Like, and like what other like in basketball is there a John Jones? Like what versions of John Jones is there like in football? You know what I mean? Like what would there be? You guys think
times are different because Lawrence Taylor used to play high before every game.
All the time.
Yep.
Coked up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like times are different, and also in his sport, if he gets caught, he gets suspended for a year, and you only fight once a year. Like in other sports, like you get suspended for a year, then you start your next season and you have a couple games before you get suspended again. Like I feel like in the MMA, this has ruined him a lot more than it would have an athlete that played in a team sport that has 82 games, 162 games. I feel like it's ruined him a lot more, even though he never loses when he fights.
Yeah,
it's really sad how he's let himself just. His brother's a successful football player.
Mm-hmm.
You figure that he could like follow suit.
He's got two brothers in the NFL, Chandler and Arthur Jones.
Oh, so yeah, I don't even know about
both
Chandler.
of them. Yeah, Arthur Jones too. Both Super Bowl champions. I think multiple times now.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, like it's so crazy, bro. Like the funniest shit I saw obviously everywhere was, oh, I guess things are getting back to normal. John Jones got in trouble. You know, like because you could just set your watch to it. But Jonathan, what do you think, bro? Like we talk about all the time, you know, MMA, UFC, and all that other shit. When you saw that, was it like, God damn, not again, or like, this makes sense? What was your reaction?
Yeah, it was along those lines. It was just like, I mean, it's not a surprise, but it's like Danny said, man. It's a shame because in MMA you fight every 6 months, maybe once, maybe twice a year, right? It depends on who you are. But this guy did it in the prime of his career because it goes back to 5 years ago, right? And he's 31, 32 now, maybe a little bit older, but he's been in the game since he was about 20. And all these problems started right around the 20, like he was 27, and he lost years. He lost 3, 4, 5 years of his prime, and that we'll never get to see. And I'm sure if he comes back and he gets to fight again, he'll probably win again because we've already talked about that. There's no one in that division that's really going to challenge him. You know, Reyes was the one that gave him the biggest fight, but it's, you know, the only person I can think of in other sports that has done him, you know, done the same thing to his career is it Aaron Gordon? Josh Gordon, not Aaron Gordon. Josh Gordon. Aaron Gordon's a basketball player. Yeah, Josh Gordon in Cleveland and then New England and wherever he's been.
But he's going to be fine now because they're not testing for weed anymore in the NFL starting this year.
Yeah, but he's lost 2-3 years as a receiver, you know, in a skilled position that requires speed. I think he's still relatively young. He might be 28.
Yeah, I think he might be in his late 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll be good.
But
at least, I mean,
but that is a good example of Josh Gordon.
Yeah. But even when it's none of them are violent offenses, you know what I mean? There's no domestic violence, no DW, you know what I mean? He's just, the job he has didn't allow him to do the thing that he loves to do. So he loves weed more than he loves football. That's evident, you know what I mean? But I promise you, he won't have as much brain trauma as other people because he's not playing as much. But the amount of weed he smokes conserves, you know what I mean? Conserves the brain cells that he has in there. But dude, when I saw that John Jones shit, I was just like, I've grown like apathetic to it. Like I don't care anymore. Like I don't care about his fights just because you don't know when he's gonna
I
fight
think
again.
at this point,
Was that
What'd
Danny?
you say? Say that
so how
again?
many second chances is he gonna get?
Right.
Yeah, that's true. What do y'all think about the fact that they're still trying to push this Khabib, like this next fight, because it's supposed to be like April 19th? Obviously, me and Jonathan have talked about it forever. You know what I mean? Like the
Oh,
next
that's
big
not
fight they're
happening.
trying to do is there's no way, right? There's no how, like how can they do it?
No, that's not happening. Wait, is it in the States?
They don't.
Oh,
No, they're trying to do.
they
They're trying
can't
to do
do
it
it.
overseas.
Are they? I mean, they can't do it. Doesn't the UFC have an entire center where they can hold these fights? I forget what they call the complex, but they have a complex where they can hold the fights. They don't have to reserve an arena or anything. And if it's gonna be closed doors, they can
With no
do it
crowd, you
there.
mean?
Yeah, with no crowd,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
crazy, which is
yeah.
tough to
They
have an
can't do a
event like
crowd.
that with no crowd.
Yeah,
Yeah, they could do it like WWE's doing WrestleMania. They could do that, yeah.
I think that'd be the only way they do it. I'm cool if they did it, if they did it at the performance center. I don't know. I don't know if because it has to be a sanctioned fight, and I don't think the commissions are going to sanction it. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like I think that's the issue. I think they could do it like in a closed thing. Like WWE is different because it's a corporate, it's a business. You know what I mean? It's not sanctioned by any athletic commission or shit like that. So with the UFC, they have to be sanctioned, and they're not going to approve it. So I think they're going to have to try to do it overseas. You know what I mean? Where maybe like in Russia, where like illegal shit happens, like where it's
You
like
can
a
do
lot
whatever the
easier to
fuck
get
you
away
want.
with stuff. Yeah, Vladimir Putin just goes, "Hey man, I'm a dictator." Yes, and everybody goes, "Okay," and then you move on. I guess there's no other way to do it because no commission is gonna grant that fight.
Well, I think
It's just
the UFC can get away with that because you don't need a crowd for the UFC. You're just there literally to watch
yeah,
the fight. When it comes to the WWE and
yep,
WrestleMania, the crowd helps with the entertainment.
yep,
With the
yep.
UFC, you can have two people. How much did people enjoy watching those fights for the Ultimate Fighter? There was no crowd, but you were still
True.
watching those intently because you wanted to see them fight. So the UFC doesn't need a crowd.
How do you think that
that's
affects
actually
those
very good.
fighters though? Because I saw that fight. I saw the last UFC that was held with no crowd. Um, and it was
Kevin Lee,
awkward. Kevin Lee, yeah, and it was just strange. I mean, as a fighter, how would that affect you? Because I know LeBron came out and said, and some of these other athletes were, they're not gonna play for nobody for an empty arena. And I watching it with and I saw the empty arena. I'm there to watch the fight, but at the same time, not hearing the crowd, not hearing everything else that came along with it. And they also had shitty broadcasters. It wasn't the usual because it wasn't a pay per view. So it's not Rogan and
yeah,
it's not DC and the other
Rogan
guys.
isn't. Yeah, Rogan's not doing Khabib. He's not traveling. He said it like, no man. He said it on his podcast, I'm not going to that shit.
Yeah,
I got a family.
right. I don't blame him. Okay, we got Danny back. So Ben, you were saying about Rogan not doing Khabib?
Yeah, so well, that's a weird way to say it. You know what I mean? Let's not say it like that
Well, I mean, you were also talking about dick jokes, so I don't know.
because Rogan, Khabib would murder all of us, right? The guy wrestled bears as a child. So let's move on. I'm terrified of that guy. Now that Rogan is not going to fly to the fight or wherever it's going to be, just because he'd rather stay home. He'll probably just do like a fight companion. So he just hangs out with his friends, like how we're doing here, but in person. And then they just talk shit and drink and smoke weed. And usually Brian Callen comes on and like brings wine and cheese, and everybody just gets drunk and has a great old time.
I don't know how you guys do to get so into the MMA though. I'm into sports. I watch 5 sports: football, basketball, baseball, soccer, and hockey. I'm into all 5.
Hockey? That's not a sport,
tried.
right? You can't count hockey.
If you can count MMA, you can count hockey. They fight just as much.
That's true.
I've tried the MMA thing. I can't get into it, man. I find it so boring. And it's because I need a rooting interest, and I can't root for another person, like just because
there's
them.
no
That's the beauty about MMA for me. I talk shit about John Jones, but it's literally Gladiator, right? If you saw Spartacus, I'm just rooting for these guys or women to beat the shit out of each other. That's what I'm rooting for. I don't even have a rooting interest in one or the other. I just want to see action.
I guess I was just different. I was never that kid in high school that like would find out that there's a fight, and you know how everybody like runs to the fight.
Yeah.
I was never that guy.
I grew up watching boxing in like the early '90s, like when Tyson was still. When you go to the friend's house who had the black box, and you get the little thing before they sent out the bullet, and you have to buy another one, and we'd go watch the fights on the weekends. And I grew up watching that shitty MMA like UFC where they were 35 minutes long, and one guy's in a gi, a taekwondo or whatever, and the other guy's a wrestler, and then you have the worst fucking commentating. Oh, he's going for the choke here. Well, oh, he just slipped out. I'm like, dude, fucking. I saw a couple of those fights. I see them on my YouTube feed, and I saw a couple of them, and I wanted to shoot myself. I wanted to be like a Travis and just blow my brains out.
There was no weight. Like when it first started, it was so bad. It was like no weight. It was literally street fighting in a cage. There was. I mean, it was like people the size of Jonathan fighting somebody the size of me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there was like little. It was the wildest shit. Then it got better. They cleaned it up and all this shit. But yeah, there's only recently has there become a thing where like you're actually fans of the fighters. But for this one thing where like you're just a fan of the sport. You know what I mean? Like
you're just watching people fuck each other up. Like I don't understand how is that enticing?
I mean, it's what's so enticing about hockey? It's men that ice skate that eventually fight.
You're just watching literally somebody get beat up. Like
somebody wins.
I feel bad for the person.
Son, if you have the chance, it was on ESPN. If you have the chance, watch one of the greatest fights. Watch the Joanna Jędrzejczyk and the Weili Zhang fight. Yeah,
they just replayed it today at 8.
Yeah, they replayed it. And I'm sure you can find it on YouTube now or like ESPN Plus. Probably has it.
I remember Masvidal. Remember this guy, this Miami guy, Jorge Masvidal, something like that.
Yeah,
Masvidal. Yeah.
Dude, that fight where he like knocked somebody out, you knew he was out. Then he went and he hit him again.
Yep.
It was super necessary, man. It was super necessary. You don't know until you play until you. If you're a fan of sports and you grow up playing and watching them, you play through the whistle. All right, that referee wasn't that referee hadn't stopped him, so you play until the referee gets you off his back.
Come on, man, that's just barbaric. It's like in basketball. You have a 10-point lead, and then you got the ball, and there's 10 seconds left. You don't go to score another basket. You just dribble the ball out because you know it's over. Like he knew it was over.
But what if you're like 2 points away from a triple double? I mean,
if you're Russell Westbrook, I guess you go for it. But other than that, most people would like just ride it out. Like that's it. It's over.
So
I just can't get into that.
Let's ask some hypothetical.
Any of those like where you have to root for a specific person, just can't get into that crap.
I can't fuck with golf at all though. I'll give you. I want to ask you a stupid hypothetical question. What athletes from other sports you think would be like super mega stars in like an MMA? Like I think like Giannis. I know he's a sociopath. I think Giannis Antetokounmpo would be a monster.
Who did you say? Who's a sociopath?
Dennis Rodman.
Oh yeah.
See, nobody argues that. He's the Carol Baskin of the NBA.
But that's the only way you can get me to watch MMA, though. You give me somebody that's entertaining, like outside of the octagon, then I'll watch him inside. Like Conor McGregor, I watch his fights because I find him hilarious.
Yeah.
Yes.
But other than that, I mean, just...
But the thing with MMA, and Jonathan knows, the thing with MMA, it follows a lot of like different sport guidelines, right? Where it's a lot like the WWE, where Vince McMahon is the biggest face, right? Mm-hmm. The biggest name in all of it. Dana White is that same person. Mm-hmm. It follows like the NFL rules, where no athlete can be. They don't want any athlete to be too big, like the NFL, right? Like they want to keep you capped off. Right. So Conor McGregor comes through and completely goes fuck all that and blows everything out of the water, which will make him such an anomaly, right? Like, but you think about every other fighter like that. None of them had that kind of personality, and they all tried to change. Like even George Masvidal tried to be different because Masvidal's been fighting since he was like 15, 16 years old, illegal street fights with Kimbo Slice.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Not against them, but like in that same card type of shit. So like there's all these fighters, and it's still a very juvenile sport, right? It's only like maybe 20 years old, maybe 22. You know what I mean? Depending on when you started. So it has a lot of places to grow. So like those fighters like Conor McGregor are gonna start coming. You know, like to people you root for. It's a very young sport. And yeah, it's hard to watch sometimes. Like I can't tell you, lie to you that I've watched every fight, especially when there's one fight every fucking weekend. Like it's just too much.
Try watching the GSP fight. Oh my god, them things are horrible.
Oh no, don't do that. Oh no, don't do that.
Oh my gosh.
No. If you ever want to get into MMA, watching GSP fight is not the way to do it.
No.
Like I can send you some highlights of like Tony Ferguson, you know what I mean, and shit like that, where that guy's an absolute maniac. And those are Nate Diaz. Those are way better fights to watch. No. If you want to, what GSP puts me to sleep, bro, and I watch this shit. Like, no, it's
Yeah, no,
fucking.
man. Look, in the UFC, if anything, it's maybe even less than 22 years because they still had those old ass, like the UFC, the old style UFC, in the late
Yeah,
90s and early 2000s, I think. So it's less than 20 when you talk about the current generation and the state of the sport where it's at now. It really only started in the mid 2000s, I think.
But isn't the UFC like trending downward? Like it had its peak like 8 years ago or so, but I feel like it's been slowly going down. No.
for the fighters, yes. For the
Well,
business, no.
didn't it get sold for I don't know how many billions of
4
dollars,
billion?
and then there
Four
was like an
billion dollars.
article recently how they're
Yeah.
regretting it because it's not worth as much as they paid for it.
It definitely
Oh,
wasn't
no.
worth what I didn't think it
No.
was worth that much in the first place.
At all.
Yeah.
They
Right.
the Fertitas, right? Because so I think it's three brothers, right? You had the two Fertitta brothers who own the UFC, and the third Fertitta brother owns the Rockets.
The Rockets,
right?
yeah.
So they the way they flipped that, because I think they bought it for like maybe 20 million, maybe 25, and they flipped it into 4. Right. So and then I think they're like they have like a hand in the building of the Vegas Raiders stadium. So they're, you know what I mean, they're flipping, they're incredible businessmen. But no, it was at no point, and me and Jonathan watched this shit for at no point did I ever think the UFC was worth $4 billion. But the UFC as a business is killing it, right? Like the Dana Whites and the executives, all of them are making a killing. The fighters still don't get paid shit.
Yeah.
But I feel like there was a point 5 or 6, 7 years ago where I felt like the UFC was big. Like whenever there was a pay-per-view, like everybody was places watching it. I feel like maybe it's oversaturated now because now they even have like events that aren't on pay-per-view and stuff, and like I don't feel, and maybe it's just me because I'm not that into it like you guys, but I feel like it's not as big as it was just 5, 6 years ago.
It's I don't think it is because I think you hit it right on the head, which is now they have UFC. It used to be on Fox before, right? But now it's on ESPN. So they have the big pay-per-view fights every month, and they'll have other weekly events that are not pay-per-view fights, sort of like to keep to keep whetting someone's appetite, kind of like just to keep you engaged for that big pay-per-view that's coming up. And maybe one of those cards will be worth watching, but I don't watch most of them. I'll go in and if there was a good fight, I'll pull up the highlights, or maybe I'll get on my VPN and do what I got to do to catch that fight. But yeah, but the reason why maybe it's kind of trending down now is because boxing has also, it was flat. Boxing was dead for a long time, and it's still dead. But you have more exciting, and I'm not just talking about the recent fight, but you've had more exciting fighters here in the last couple of years. And I think when the heavyweights are interesting in boxing, then that's what carries the sport. And when you have heavyweights that are interesting, that you want to watch these guys fight, that's what brings interest back to boxing and kind of takes some of that shine away from the UFC, which is good because I'm a boxing fan, and it was dead for a long time, and I used to watch those 150 pounders fucking just kill each other, but there wasn't really a heavyweight worth watching for a long time. Klitschko is boring, I mean, he's great, but his fighting style is like saying GSP is just a boring style to watch. But that's probably why it's trending down, because I think boxing, at least with interesting heavyweights, might be trending up just a little bit more.
And I also think the reason, and you're right, Danny. Like we're not this. It's 100% trending now. Like because before it was just on Fox Sports, right? It was on Fox Sports and it was on pay-per-view, FS1, sometimes on the big Fox or whatever. But now it's on ESPN sometimes, but mostly ESPN Plus because they want to drive more traffic to the app. Not a lot of people, you know what I mean, went to the app to have another bill, even if it is like $4.99. You know what I mean? Not a lot of people want to do that, and then you pay for the app, and then to watch the fight, you have to pay for the fight. That's $70. You know what I mean? Which is like one thing that's cool about it. If you do pay for the fight, you get to keep the fight, right? Like so, you could watch the fight. Like if you bought the Khabib fight, you can always pull it up because it's on the app. You can watch it on your phone, whatever. But it's too many now. It's too many hurdles to get to watch that fight. Where like the casual fan is where they really make their money from. Like if the casual but for the most, you're not gonna watch it. You're not gonna go out of your way to do that because you got to get the app, then you got to buy the fight or VPN it, and then it becomes too much of a hassle. Where every other sport, it's just on TV. You know what I mean? And then the fighters don't get paid as much, and then The fact that there's a fight, like a 12-card fight every Saturday or Friday night, or sometimes on Sunday, depending on where they're showcasing it from, because they're all over the world. It's too much, right? Because I mean, you're a huge sports fan, but you wouldn't watch like in one day you wouldn't watch 12 Yankee games or 12 Nick games. You know what I mean? Or 12 Nick games or like consecutively. Well, Knicks would probably
Who would want to watch any Knicks games? I mean, let's be honest.
I told Ben to
I
get
don't. I
off
don't
that.
want to
Though.
watch.
Like, I've been off the Knicks since 2012. I don't know why he keeps bringing them up.
He is Brooklyn now. You got Brooklyn now.
Speaking of which, James Dolan just came back positive for COVID-19.
Oh,
Didn't Durant test positive too a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know. Didn't and there's hope for you yet, son. Is that fucked up? There's because he looks like a smoker too. So I want to put that out.
That's terrible.
I want to put that.
There might new ownership on the horizon.
Oh, you're talking about James Dolan?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to wish that out.
2012. Once the Nets moved to Brooklyn, I was all in.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like it's just too many fights in one. Again, if you watch in 1 month, there's a good chance you watch 50 to 60 fights. Like that's just too much. And most of those fighters aren't worth watching. And you might not like. Let's say if you get invested in one fighter, in fighter A or whoever the fuck, you might not see him for 6 months to a year, unless he gets hurt while training. Then it could be 2 to 3 years. So then like you can't even follow a fighter.
Well,
so you just have to.
Well, that's my
what
thing.
Yeah.
I told you I watch 5 sports and I have 5 teams that I love because I grew up with them. If that team is playing 4 times in one day, I'm probably watching all 4 games. If you have one fighter that's fighting one day, he's fighting that one time, and you won't see him again for another 4 or 5 months. Yeah. So it's hard for me to get into.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's why, like I said in the beginning, I don't have a particular fighter that I follow because you can't. It's like with boxing, those combat sports, they fight once every 6 to 12 months. So, and I don't do the whole, even though I'm into the UFC and MMA, I don't watch these ESPN Plus cards that they put up. But if I see that there's like an interesting fight amongst one of those, I'll go out of my way, or after the fact, I'll watch it to see if it was, a fight worth watching. But to just set my time, like on Saturday, they're going to have this one, or in the middle of the week, because then they have middle of the week cards on Wednesdays and Thursdays, they're going to have this other one. Nah, that's too much. And you're right, it's kind of oversaturated, and they want to put the product out there in front of everyone's face. So even the people so the casual fans that haven't seen it, they can catch it on ESPN. And maybe they'll order the pay-per-view if they find that fight, that card entertaining or interesting or whatever. But that's too much for me. I don't follow it that hardcore. Like, it's just like I don't know how you watch 5 sports, man. I can't do it anymore. I used to watch football all the time. I can't.
Well, he only watches his teams. He doesn't watch all.
No, I'm not gonna sit down and watch the Cleveland Indians play against the Seattle Mariners. Like, I'm not doing that. But if it's my team, I could watch it all day long.
I don't know why he said the Cleveland Indians, because I'm living in Cleveland. But by the way, I've been an Indians fan since even before moving up here. Strangely enough.
Well, that's pretty cool.
The whole Albert, yeah, right. The Albert Bell and what did he have? The cork bat days with Albert Bell, Kenny Lofton, Carlos Baerga, all those guys. I mean,
but that's pretty cool though. Like, my dream was always to have season tickets to a team, because when I lived in New York, we were poor, so I never could.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
I moved over here, right? I finally have my own real job, but all my teams are in New York, so I can't do it. So with this Miami team that just started, finally got my season tickets.
Nice.
First game, March 14th. Can't wait. March 12th, shit gets canceled. Fucking bullshit. How do I have season tickets and I haven't been able to go to a game yet? I don't know.
And you probably won't. Because I don't. Who knows if there's going to be a season at all? Like, I don't like, because I honestly, I don't understand how there's going to be a season for any of these sports. Like, I don't know how you go back to normal when, like, you can't play those sports. You cannot play in an empty arena. Like, we've seen games in Europe, like when the fans are banned from Champions League and shit like that. We've seen how weird that is. Like, we saw a Real Madrid game 3 years ago, where, like, in Russia, or it's on, like, whatever the hell, CSKA Moscow or whatever it was, and it was so weird. It's a game that, like, you cannot watch without fans. Well, it's impossible.
The commissioner for baseball, Rob Manfred, already came out and said that all the owners for baseball have agreed that they're not going to bring back the season until all these limits on gatherings get lifted. So unless they can have fans in the stadiums for baseball, they're not going to play a season.
Yeah, because baseball's boring enough as it is. You can't have that without fans.
Well,
I don't know, and I know I said at the beginning, right? Like I don't know how we get back to our normal. Like I genuinely don't know that. I don't know because how like how do you get back to unlimiting the gatherings, going back to sport, all this other shit? It's
I think
wild, bro.
we're gonna enter a new way of life and we didn't even realize it was coming. But I think this is gonna be our new norm for the next year or so. Like they'll lift some of the restrictions, but you still have to be careful what you touch. Don't touch people. Be at home as much as possible. Like I think a lot of the stuff gets lifted, but I think we have to kind of accommodate to new norms. Nobody's gonna be shaking hands anymore. We're gonna look like China with people walking around with masks. But they said that this could last 12 to 18 months, but the economy can't withstand what we're going through right now for 12 to 18 months. So we have to go back to like some type of normal. But our normal isn't going to be something that, we're used to. We're just going to have to get used to the new norms.
It's like, and I was go ahead, Jonathan.
No, I was just thinking, man. I was reading an article, and I don't know if it was from WHO or I was trying to find it what Daniel was talking, but that I think they're working on a vaccine, and they're saying it could be about a year before they have a working vaccine, which means that they may start lifting stuff slowly. I mean, they're going to have to for the economy because it's not going to be able to withstand a year of people. Not everyone can work from home. But I was reading an article earlier about building herd immunity, right? And it's just going to be tough with building herd immunity with this because there is no vaccine. With the flu, it's different, right? You get vaccinated and some people are going to get it, but eventually you have that herd immunity. But how do you go back, especially if you live in a multi-generational household, and go back to your grandparents or if your parents are living with you, and you may have symptoms, they may not affect you, it may run through your body, or you may have the symptoms, but you get over it, but you can't bring that home to your parents that live with you, or grandparents, you can't bring that home. So it sounds like a good idea in theory, but if we go back out there and lift these things too quickly or lift too many of these restrictions, I think you're gonna see these rates just shoot through the roof, man. I don't think it's a good thing, and I understand that we got to do something for the economy, and they'll start lifting some of these things slowly. But as they lift them, I think that you're gonna see these cases start increasing. So,
but like you said, it's gonna happen slowly. The top of the bell curve is supposed to hit us around mid-May, right? We're gonna keep going up, late April, early May. Let's say mid-May, and then you start kind of flattening the curve, as everybody keeps saying.
Right.
So let's say they start to flatten it mid-May to late May. I think they could start lifting some things in June at some point, right? That's what they're talking about, all the sports season starting again up in late June, early July, right? So I think that's when we can maybe start thinking about some type of normalcy coming back to the country. But I don't see it happening before June.
That's crazy, though, until mid-May or June or July. To wait until that long. I mean, I get it. I'm all for it. And for me, I can work from home for the rest of my life, or as long as I have a career where I work at. But there are industries that can't withstand that. I mean, I think some of them are going to have to. How are they going to go about it if they don't lift these things? Like, people are going to have to go back to work somehow. Or some industries are going to disappear completely. Like, a restaurant is just going to stick to delivery. You know what I mean? It's a new world.
The thing is that when they're predicting that the peak is going to be in mid-May, that's taking into consideration the restrictions that are being held right now. So even with the restrictions of everybody having to stay at home, they're still predicting that we're going to hit our peak in mid-May. If they lift those restrictions, that peak's going to come a lot sooner probably.
Oh, yeah.
And with it coming a lot sooner, we have less supplies, less hospital beds, and the damage is going to be a lot more if we lift those restrictions too quickly. So I'm with you, and I don't know what the right answer is, but
I have no idea.
If they try to help the economy, like Trump's saying that he wants to lift it by Easter, I mean that peak's going to come a lot sooner than we're hoping. Yeah, I mean we think about the peak coming in May, and you think about it in two ways. You think about, wow, we have to do this until May. That's rough, but one way or another, those numbers are going to climb to that height. It's just how long can we hold off? Because we're trying to get more supplies,
right,
for that surge. So one way or another, it's coming. We're trying to just hold it off as much as possible so we're prepared for when it does come.
Ben, you're gonna say something before I started?
Yeah. I was not. What I was just gonna say, like, it's just like I don't know, and it's not even like I know me and you, Danny, go back and forth. Like, this isn't even like a Trump thing or anything. Like, it's just I don't know how you could predict something like that to when you don't have the full information and know how, you know what I mean? Because one thing's clear, it's one of the most contagious things ever, right? Like, it's because things it lives on this thing longer than it lives on that on lives on was it like cut whatever, you know what I mean, like lives on steel long, you know what I mean, lives on this. If you were in the area and you get there 6 hours later, you still the droplet still might be in the air. I guess the wildest shit ever. So it's one of the so one person has it at Walmart and then they say they lift the sanctions. One person coughs, you know what I mean? All the people around them are now in danger, and all the people around those people are now in danger. So it's like you have to do these things. Yeah, it sucks having to stay at home. Yeah, I live in the middle of nowhere, so my isolation is different than you guys' isolation. Where like Jonathan was telling a story last podcast where he was walking his dog, and other people were walking their dog, and you cross the street. You know what I mean? To do that, like for me, I could just walk. I have 7 neighbors. You know what I mean? So like I can just go outside of my yard and be outside and cool like that. But it's so strange, man. Like how quickly our worlds changed, and how it's never going to be this. Like I think, we talked about it. Like I think movie theaters are gone. That's why you see movies like being released direct to Amazon. How they're doing now, where you can just buy it at home. Restaurants are going to probably be more takeout than in, because if it's the next 12, 18 months, right? If it's the next 12, 18 months and you're going to limit those gatherings, you can't have a full restaurant. So you're not going to have as many waiters back, bartenders or cooks. So all those people, like, how do those people bounce back? So like this is completely unforeseen. Like, I don't think any politician from Bernie Sanders to Donald Trump says that they would have known how to handle it. I think it's full of complete shit, because it's never been seen in any of our lifetimes, unless you were born before the Spanish flu and remember it to now. You've never seen anything like this in your life.
Hey, what about that Italian that was born during the Spanish flu and just got over the
Yeah,
coronavirus?
yeah, exactly. He's like 101 years old,
Jesus.
yo. Legit. How crazy is that? Fucking test his blood. He's probably the vaccine.
You know, I've heard what you said before about theaters just disappearing. I don't see how that's possible.
How, like, nobody's going to movie theaters now, right? So they're losing money.
But you,
Right, like,
you're
unless
right, but you still want, like, I get what you're saying.
No.
So you think they're gonna go out of business just because they lose money? Because
yes,
if they manage to stay
Yes.
open, when they return, people are still gonna go to the movies.
no, it's not about the people wanting to go to the movie, right? It's more so that I don't know. Like, let's say right now, I don't know how many people are going to movie theaters now, right? Like I don't know. I don't have that
But at this
that
time,
data.
nobody can go.
No, nobody
Right.
can. But let's say this lasts for 3-4 months. Those businesses still have payments, still have, you know what I mean? Still have light bills to pay. Like, all those bills don't go away because there's a pandemic or people aren't going. Those bills still show up every first,
Right.
right? So those things don't get paid, and you know how to any money coming in, you're gonna have to file for bankruptcy, right? Like, you're gonna like, yo, I need to make my way and get out of
But
this.
aren't those
So I
the
think that
corporations that Trump's helping out?
no, but I don't know. I don't know how much of those corporations own theaters. You know what I mean? Like, I think these corporations are like the multi billionaire, like the Boeings and the things. Like, none of us, we don't know anybody who works for companies like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, the high level companies are like only select people that did some crazy shit get to work there. I don't know. I don't know how much. And I genuinely don't know like how much this bailout or this stimulus helps helps AMC out or Regal Cinemas. Like, I don't know. I don't know how it gets them over. I don't know if they're considered a small business or a large business.
No, they're
I
a
don't know
large
if they
business.
have.
Well, I
Yeah.
just need to make sure that Disney World is okay.
Yeah, that's true. You
They're
need
losing
that.
like supposedly $4 million a day.
Jesus.
Yeah, dude. Like, how do you come back from that? Like, and especially you think about it. Like, you have now, right? And this has pretty much become the norms. Chances of Disney World being full to the capacity that it was before probably isn't going to happen for a good couple of years, right? Because people are still going to be tentative with their kids. Like, ah, man, somebody got corona 2 weeks ago, still not clear. You know what I mean? So like those things start happening, it could be 5 years from now, we could be looking at a totally different world than what we are now. You know what I mean? And it's just because businesses are going to go away. Like a lot of these businesses, me and Jonathan talked about it before. They don't have like a real savings. They're day to day, week to week because they have quarterly earnings. They have stock portfolios. They have people who, you know what I mean. They have all the people who invest in it. So that level of shit is, I don't know how it ever bounces back. If I'm, just because of me, like I don't understand. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's some like economics major that can. I go, well, they could do this kind of investments, put money here, put money there. That's fine, but like movie theaters are all those things. Think about the theaters we go to, right? 24 theaters. All of them are empty. Nobody's working in there, but they still got electricity. Can't pay for it. All the restaurants, they still got electricity bills. They still have rent for their space. All that, all those bills keep coming in. They only have so much money, and it's gonna run out. And remember, if you're a business owner, you're gonna want to get the fuck out of there before that number hits zero, because you got to make a profit. This is your life. You know what I mean? So.
But theaters have been trending down over the years. I mean, not as many people go to the theaters. Even when you have these big premieres and Marvel or whomever is dropping a summer blockbuster, there aren't that many people. I remember the days where you'd see a line out to wherever because Star Wars has a movie coming out and people are camping out to get tickets or dressed as Chewbacca and whatever the fuck. Well, but those days are long gone, and so then you add this to the mix, and they may not disappear, but I think that business model has to change because what happens when they lift these restrictions? Maybe they'll say in May or June, we can gather, but it still has to be under 50 people or under 100 people or whatever. So those gatherings are still going to limit the amount of moviegoers or theater goers that can attend at any one time.
And then movies start losing money, right? And then that's why they did this trial with Onward being on Amazon Prime, that movie The Hunt being on Amazon Prime Video. Like these are movies you buy for $19.99 and then you just have them, right? I think that's going to become the new thing because let's face it, like for the most part we're going to streaming thing anyway. Like this month you were supposed to have Mulan come out. Mulan, they pushed it back for a year, right? In a couple months you're supposed to have Black Widow. I think so. Yeah. I think they pushed it back to next year.
The new Bond movie I think got pushed to November, December, I think.
Yeah, the new Bond movie. You had Fast and Furious 87 billion supposed to come out this past. You know what I mean? Like you have all these movies coming out. They can't sit them on the shelf because there's too much money, right? So they're gonna have to put them out somewhere. So I think the only way they're gonna get somewhat of their money back is putting it on stream. But then the risk you doing that is people rip it and then put it up on illegal shit and then you lose your money. You know what I mean? So like that's why I'm pretty sure like with Black Widow they're gonna drop it on Disney Plus. You know what I mean? And you could just buy it from the Disney Plus app for $19.99 or whatever.
Well, I know
that way,
Onward is supposed to be available on Disney Plus on Friday, just free. Like everybody has Disney Plus.
Yeah, dude, I've seen most of it already. It's really good.
Yeah, I was gonna go see it in theaters, but then all this shit happened. Now I'm gonna get to see it.
Yeah, I wanted to go see it in theaters because I still like cartoons. I don't give a fuck. I don't need kids to just go at a later time when you don't look like a complete weirdo. You know what I mean? You go to like the 10 o'clock show, not the 10 a.m. show when you're good. You don't look like a fucking creep at all.
Well, I mean, if you're going with your wife, you don't like a creep. If you're going by yourself, you might look a little creepish.
I think if there's ever a single man that goes to a Disney movie, he should be arrested immediately. Like, just don't ask him. It's like a Chris Hansen thing. Sir, step over here with me. Why did you buy a ticket by yourself?
Should have kept that show going.
Why did you bring her some chocolate chip cookies? Fucking Chris Hansen comes out of the bushes out of nowhere. Hey, sir, where you going? Oh, I was just checking to see if she was home, if she was safe. That's all. I was being a good neighbor. But the text messages say, "Plop," or your what was it? Your AOL Instant Messenger conversation
says I'm gonna shove popsicles up your asshole. Wait a second here. Wait a second. I'm gonna bring the padlock and the meth. Crazy shit, man. Danny, and John, I don't think this world's gonna be the same, bro. I don't think it's gonna be the same anymore. Like, I think this is how we're gonna like socialize. You know what I mean? For like the foreseeable future.
Well, haven't you seen how people are having like happy hours through Zoom?
Yeah.
Yeah. Zoom
went down the other day because of so many people using it.
Yeah.
I feel like people should start looking into Zoom and maybe them doing some Carol Baskin shit.
Yeah.
So they're the ones that got this thing going.
They put
right.
the sardine oil in the pangolin. They figured some shit out because that's what they ate, right? It was a pangolin. It wasn't a bat. Everybody's saying it was a bat. A pangolin kind of looks like a small armadillo, and like that's what they supposedly ate in China that started this whole thing.
But they've been
It's a
eating
little
that shit
food.
over there, the pangolin, because I remember watching a documentary a year ago or something. They eat it because I don't know if it's pangolin soup or something because it helps with the fuck is it? The same reason why they kill rhinos and they grind up the horn because it helps with what's up?
Yeah, soft dick with soft dicks, erectile dysfunction.
Yeah.
I think
That's what they believe, and they fucking kill these animals for that shit. And that's why they eat the pangolins.
Está bien.
Because these like 85-year-old men still want to get it in, like no, I gotta be like The Rock. Like, all right, man, you be The
I
Rock.
saw a really disturbing video of some Chinaman going in on chicken.
Oh, I saw that too. God, who sent me that? That was terrible. In a corner, and I thought that was Venezuela for a second, the little town I grew up in, and then I'm like, oh, no, that's a Chinese dude. Okay, that's not the little town of Venezuela I grew up in.
I wasn't sure what was happening in the video though. Like it took me a while to catch on.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't sure that he was naked. I was like, what does he grab? I was really confused until I really realized what was happening.
Is that your excuse? Is that your excuse for watching the video from the beginning to end? You're like, I just couldn't figure it out. I'm like, that dude was fucking a chicken from like the first second.
Until he like grabbed it by the throat and like really started like thrusting it. I was like, holy shit. Like, what the fuck is this? That was a disturbing video.
I know.
I'll send it to you, Ben, because I don't want you to miss out.
I've seen worse. Listen, I've seen Two Girls, One Cup, BME Pain Olympics.
I've never seen Two Girls, One Cup.
No?
Oh, no, you're...
Oh, man, you're missing out.
No, yeah.
Missing out, bro. One of the greatest videos of all time.
Yeah, okay.
That's like I think it's like a 2-minute clip, and I could vividly remember all 120 seconds. Like right now. It's the craziest shit ever, bro.
It is.
Nah, man. I can't. I can't. I mean, I heard a lot about it when it first dropped. I was in high school, and I can't do it.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like that went viral before being viral was a thing. Like think about how long ago we like internet wasn't what it was when we were kids or in high school.
Still made its way around big time. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Like everybody knew. Everybody goes like Two Girls, One Cup. And then, but no, it's fucking. It's BME Pan Olympics is worse though. 4 minutes and 52 seconds.
Yeah,
that's way worse.
That's rough.
What was that?
Yeah, BME Pain Olympics. You want me to give you the? No. I'll tell you. I'll describe it to you in very very vivid detail. No, here you go. So it's all these dudes, right? Because first of all, no.
It sounds like a movie Ben would watch, though. It's all these dudes. Let me set the stage for you. Sounds about right, Ben.
How it goes, right? Because when you first watch it, nobody tells you what you're about to watch, right? Like, oh man, you see BME Pain Olympics? Like, nah, man, what is that? So it's all these dudes that do like wild shit to their dicks, right? And like their balls. It's disgusting. And then the last second of the video, this guy like ties off his sack and his penis, and then like he cuts it, and then he pops out his testicle. No, you listening? I want you to get a good image, right? And it's shot like on a Motorola Razr camera, so it's kind of digitized. But the one thing you see clearly, he's like pushing his testicle, and then his testicle pops out, and it looks like a little, and that's how it ends. You see the guy's testicle fall out, and I guess he won the gold medal. I don't know how. I don't know how they rate it. You know what I mean?
He was definitely the winner, I guess.
Yeah. All right, China, you won again, you motherfuckers.
I've never even heard of that video before.
No, it's the most disgusting thing. It's one of those. It's the most disgusting thing ever, bro. It's so bad. It's so bad. Oh, it's so bad.
I can't. Yeah,
I remember I watched that. I'll tell you exactly. I watched that when I was working I was working security. I won't say the company. I was working security, and my coworker, I think it was Troutman, or my boy Lewis that pulled it up. No, it was Lewis because he was in the Navy. It was for sure Lewis. He pulled it up and he goes, "Yo, man, watch this." Like, what are we watching? It was like 2:00 in the morning. We were working overnight, and I was like, "Yo!" We were like, because no, we hadn't seen anybody for. I was like, "This is gross, man." But yeah, dude, one time and one time only is, and then you just do that to the next person. Like, "Yo, man, you seen BM?"
You gotta check this out.
Like, yo, check this out. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick though. You guys watch, you know what I mean? You guys watch this. I'll be back in a minute. You come back, it's like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with you? Hey, man, welcome to the club. Now you've seen it. You just do it to the next person. and it went
Yeah,
viral like that.
no, luckily I've never seen it, and it sounds horrible.
No, it's absolutely terrible, bro. It's like, first of all, why do people do shit like that? I don't get it. It was just wild, man.
You gotta watch
You
it,
guys
bro.
think
I don't
you
want you
gotta
to
watch?
miss out.
I'll send you the link. I'll tell you it's something totally different. Oh, here's Onward for free.
That's what it's gonna be.
I don't think I'm gonna sit through for 4 minutes once it starts. I know it's not Onward.
Yeah, exactly. Hey man, you saw the chicken getting fucked. Anything's possible.
Dude,
You guys think?
I'm telling you, it doesn't. You can't tell that guy's naked. I'm telling you.
I haven't seen it. I have not seen that yet.
You're like, what the fuck is that shit? I didn't
That's
even
so
realize
weird.
that the chicken was backwards. I thought it was the chicken's beak at first.
You thought he was throat fucking the chicken?
No, I thought that the chicken was eating something off his lap. Literally, what I really thought. I thought the chicken was eating something off his
Oh
lap.
my goodness, I found it.
Are you?
I'm gonna send it to you, but is this gonna break your internet connection since you're using your phone to tether?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, I haven't. I'm not gonna watch it, so I'll just delete the message you sent me because it's not happening.
Just watch it. Just watch this shit. It's you just gotta watch it.
It's not as bad as the shit that you just.
Yeah, it's not as bad as that.
I would hope not, man. That's fucking wild. You guys think airlines rebound? I know they got money, but you guys think people are gonna fly like that again?
Yeah, of course. People are dying. Look,
Yeah.
people are dying to travel right now.
Yeah.
I told you I looked up plane tickets. It was like $55 to Miami.
Exactly. Like if Trump comes out and it's like, you know what? We've decided that things are decent enough where you can start traveling again. People are like, really? Boom. And then they're gonna start traveling again. That's all they need. Even if it's Trump talking out his ass, they don't care. If you give them the reassurance that everything's not too bad, they'll start traveling again. Especially with the prices really low.
Yeah.
Look, man, I know I have my differences with Trump and that whole cult, but this shit as a whole, just as a country, I'm really hoping we bounce back, man. Like left, right, and different. I don't give, because this is just wild. I could never, like, I think I've seen movies like this, like Outbreak and Contagion. You know what I mean? But even that isn't as crazy as this is. And like, it's crazy that all of those movies are now on Netflix. It's like they knew it was coming. Like all the pandemic movies are on there. Like they have like a series called Pandemic. Like, why the fuck would I want to watch that? I'm living one.
I watched
good.
it for the first couple minutes and I took it off. I was like, forget this shit.
Yeah, like what? I'm living in it right now. I could just put on CNN. I'm living the same life. The fuck? Why do I need that in my life? I don't know, man.
Look, don't you think CNN is doing like
the service?
I feel like they're trying to really get people riled up unnecessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I see like people in the White House, like, but like it's unnecessary to say. It's true. Like somebody on CNN, they were like, "Oh, we hear that doctors are talking about, you know, the tough ethical decision they're gonna have to make on who they're gonna treat and who they're not gonna treat." Yeah. I was like, okay, obviously they're having that conversation. They have to have a contingency plan.
Right.
But why report it? Like, you're trying to like make people like, oh shit, they're already starting to decide that we're gonna like have some people die and some people live. Like, we're not there yet. Like, I get that you need to have a contingency plan, but why start reporting it to just get people freaked out? Like, of course they're gonna discuss that. They have to discuss it. That doesn't mean that it's happening right now.
Yeah, it's a reality of life too. When something like that happens, like you have to make those decisions, and unfortunately, there are people out there that live and die by the news. Like that the news cycle is what gets them going. That's how they measure their day. And whether it's CNN or Fox or MSNBC, it's just that's what they go. Again, we've talked about. I try not to watch those outlets because they will, whether you compare CNN, Fox, MSNBC, they report one event from 4 different points of view. Like four different angles. It's not news at that point. It's entertainment because people just want to cover it from completely different perspectives. And it's not that you're getting a new perspective or more information. It's just, what do I agree with? How do I side politically or morally, or what are my values, or whatever angle they're taking to try to reach their demographic and the people that tune into those channels. Yeah. But I think while CNN is definitely sensationalizing some of that stuff, the early stages with the president being so nonchalant about it, However, we're gonna get rid of it in a week. It's just 15 cases, and then we'll be over it, and we'll be down to zero. They're two extremes: the news and CNN, and then what was coming from the White House and from that administration.
But that guy shouldn't be allowed to fucking talk, man.
No, that should get. Yeah, you're right.
That's all I've been saying. Like that's one thing I would never just. It's all I want to hear from and is the doctors, bro. Like, give me Dr. Fauci, give me that lady, Dr. Burke. I want facts. I want what to do, how to avoid it, what to do if it like. I want that. I don't want spin. I don't give a fuck about Wall Street.
But the thing is, you can't even give him a script because he'll read the script, but it's like he just has to like act like
he had.
We have a timeline. It's a beautiful timeline. It's one of the most beautiful timelines you'll ever see. And then he continues with his script. It's like, but why do you have to add that in?
Yeah.
You sound like an idiot.
Yes. Yeah.
I just can't stand listening to that guy speak.
Like it's hard. Like it becomes this thing where like I'll have conversations with other friends and be like, "Oh, but where'd you get that? Is that a reliable source?" I was like, dude, it's the president. Here's the video of him saying it. This is what he said. Like today, you know, I'm well established troll, right? I'm a troll on Facebook because I love to fuck with a lot of people. I have a lot of conservative friends and family. I don't care. I know it. You know it. Everybody fucking knows it. But when like, how is it that I get it? I'm an asshole. In my point of view, I get it. But when I'm showing you the video of the president saying this, how is it that you're debating with me that I'm wrong when he's the one that's, you know what I mean, strengthening my point because he said it, and then it becomes this whole like today we're like the he enacted yesterday the Defense Spending Act or something like that where he nationalized General Motors to make the ventilators. Like that's socialism, right? Like that's the government directing a corporation to do this or whatever. It's like, oh no, it's not all this other shit. I was like, I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. It's like, yes, I like that he did the stimulus. I like that he is gonna give people, you know what I mean, that needed money. Like you guys will get money for having kids. You get more than me because you should. You have kids. You have more responsibilities. But like the never-ending money for corporations is the conversation that needs to be had. The motherfuckers just got $2 trillion 2 years ago, and now they're getting minimum of 4. You know what I mean? So like, where does it end? I don't know, man.
Look, man, I listen to him because he's entertaining, right? Not because I'm expecting any facts or anything. The other day he was talking, and I think Burks was behind him, and he's talking about something like some analysis that they were doing, and he said, you know, it's we looked at the numbers and really it's just big numbers, but also really small numbers. I'm like, so which numbers did you look at? Because he starts going one way and he goes, but we also looked at the smallest numbers, and it's just we looked at all the numbers. I'm like, what the? He just has to throw shit in there. I'm like, dude, you're not making sense. Just read the script, get the information out, and get it over with. But it's funny to watch that because he always has to have some superlative, some adjective. We have the greatest, and we saw the biggest numbers, but also the smallest numbers. I'm like, but you're making no sense right now.
Ever seen?
Yeah.
So the best numbers. Nobody's ever seen numbers like this. What numbers were they? What are they the same numbers we've always seen?
Yeah, they're Times New Roman font size 8 is what it is. Those are the small numbers, and then the big numbers they're like just a bigger font size. I think that's what he's talking about.
Ben, now that you brought up your trolling on Facebook, I've been dying to ask you this, and I keep forgetting. But now that I got you, I'm gonna ask you.
What's up?
At what point are you gonna keep trolling? Because I feel like there's some people that just like, you know, I insult you. I'm sure Jonathan insults you.
Yeah, of course.
But there's some people that like
get angry,
to really put you down, like almost like if you were in person, you might. I would probably punch the person in the mouth.
Yeah. No, I would.
At some point, it's like it's not even like friendly banter anymore. It's like just straight like insult, like a serious insult. I'm like, why do you have these people on your friends? Like, why do you keep trolling them? Because obviously this is not even friendly anymore. It's just like,
you know, I'll tell you, and I know this is gonna sound very, very egotistical, and I'm just gonna be completely honest, because I think like every person, and they're gonna I think I could beat up every person on my social media.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, unless they have a gun, and I'll lose that one. So like, if it ever comes to that, I'm winning that argument as well.
Obviously, but I'm saying, but you're not in person, so you're just letting the person put you down online.
I guess because I have. All right, so I guess we'll have the real conversation about. I guess because I want to be an optimist, right? Like I want to believe at some point it won't be that deep of a cult. Like because I psychologically don't comprehend how anybody, like me and you used to argue about sports, right? Like you had when I was way more passionate about, and we scream at each other and all that shit. But we're you know
Right.
what I mean, we're like brothers. Same thing like me and Jonathan. Like it's but like I don't understand the defense of a person you've never met. You know, you get what I'm saying? Like just because like that part of it, that psychologically, I don't comprehend that. Where like I'm hoping like this one thing I say, they're like, yeah, man, this is stupid. You know what I mean? Like, it blows my mind that that hasn't happened and that doesn't happen because I don't agree with one. I don't agree with my own family. I don't agree with my own mother that much. You know what I mean? Like I don't understand that psychology behind it. So that's why I do it, right? Like I get and yeah, and I know who you're talking about when you're saying like yeah, the people are negative. I know we all know who you're talking. You
Because
know what I
the
mean? And I
condescension
know
behind some of those statements and like just the put downs, I'm like,
Wait, is it the same individual that I had a
I
run-in
had
with?
you're talking about the Cuban guy, right?
me?
Is it yeah, no, I'm saying who are you talking about? Because I know you got somebody specific in mind.
It's
You're
your
talking
Nova
about
buddy. Not Nova.
oh like the Kaiser. Yeah. You met at my graduation, right? You're talking about him. Yeah.
No, I
Yeah,
know
no,
because we
him.
used to play football and baseball together.
Yeah. Him. Like, yeah, he's a special case, man. He goes a little bit too far where I'm just like, hey man, like, you know, like I feel like I can insult your family and you would have less of a problem. Like, you know what I mean? I don't I should
Look,
probably
I'll be
unfriend
honest
him.
with you, okay? You know, I dropped out because it was just one exchange between on your timeline, and I said something, and then he went all in on attacking, you and your communist friends, referring to me and your army buddy,
Yeah,
and this and that.
yeah,
And then I went back and forth, remember? And then he started using circular logic where he was trying to prove a point, but then
yeah,
what he did was prove my point, and then he didn't even
yeah,
see it, and he wrote another paragraph. And I was like, all
yeah,
right, I'm bored. I'm not entertained by you anymore. But I also
mhm,
realized this dude is angry. Like, I'm going to stop because I'm afraid that he's
yes,
beating his wife and kids. Like, I don't want any of that to happen. Like, if he's going that hard in the paint on Facebook to argue with a total stranger who is just trying
yeah.
to have a conversation, like, I'm afraid for his wife and kids, for his coworkers. I'm just going to drop it at that and
I
just
But that was
I
and
actually
troll
think
Ben instead.
I think he actually blocked me because I haven't seen.
because the person I'm talking about, he comes at you, and I'm like, I'm not even sure why you still talk to that guy. But there was another guy that started talking about like
The one that changed his
somebody's
name?
kids deserve to get kidnapped or
Whoa.
Oh no, that's
another.
his brother. That's Jonathan's brother.
Oh, my
Yeah,
brother.
that was yeah.
he
That's
said some
Chris. Yeah.
he said some crazy. He doesn't attack men though.
No, he was attacking
He
my.
was attacking somebody else.
Yeah,
Talking about how you
he's
want
Yeah,
to
he was
like,
attacking
kidnap their
Chris.
kids
Yeah, he
and
was
like
attacking my other boy Chris.
kill their mom or something.
Yeah.
I
he
don't
says
know.
some ridiculous stuff. Oh god.
Oh no, yeah, he's. I don't. You never notice I don't co-sign any of what he says.
Please
Like if he
don't.
comments, I just leave it there. I just no, yeah, he's that shit gets wild. No.
Neither do
That's
I, and he's my brother.
Well, your brother
yeah,
wants to
that's
kill
his
some
actual
moms
brother.
and kidnap some kids. Your brother's on some crazy shit.
Yeah, that's actually his brother. Yeah, bro. That's our. Oh man, I've known them the same amount of time, bro. Yeah, he's wild, man. Like
Yeah,
you
but
should
your
see the
brother isn't
arguments
the
he
one
did.
that I wonder why Ben still talk. I mean, even though like what he says is questionable, but the other dude that he comes at you, and I'm like, dude, why the fuck do you still talk to this guy? Like, what's the point?
Yeah, no, he's. Yeah, there's. I guess again, man. Like I guess because because I know the guy. You know what I mean? Or I knew the guy, right? Like this is years
But
ago
you
now,
can
like 8
dislike
years
people
ago.
you know. Fuck them.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what. But I also read it, and I'm just like, I'm kind of mind blown by it, bro. Where like, I'm just like, I don't understand that level of anger. Like, you know, like I don't, because I don't for any politician. Like, yeah, I like Bernie and all this, but like, I'm not gonna if somebody posts something negative, I'm not gonna go on. You know what I mean? Go on their shit.
I guess my question is more because I don't see it as he's angry. I see it as he dismisses you as a dumbass.
Right.
That's how he speaks to you.
Yeah, I got you.
And so I just
Because
I
it's
don't
a
get
level,
it. Like,
but also it's also like if you ever read what he's doing that, but at the same time, like none of what he says ever makes any sense. Where like it's a lot of circular logic and self justification. Where like I don't take it personally because I'm acknowledging how stupid he is. You know what I mean? Like I also because the thing is I also dismiss him as a dumbass. So like I just do it. I do it out of my own entertainment, man. Sometimes we're like, dude, like I don't even have like the Facebook app on my phone. I have to log onto my phone. Like I have to open and go to like the website to look at it. So I don't get the alerts right away. So I'll let them shit there like 8 to 10 hours Hey, dude, and it'll be like multiple rants. I'm like, hey man, why are you so angry, dude? Like this is video of him. You know what I mean? Like, let's calm down a little bit.
But
It's not socialism.
Yeah, it takes a special person, right, to go on like someone else's social media page, because you're not going to someone's page and posting that meme. You're putting it on your own, and then someone gets on your page and says, "You know what? I'm gonna take time out of my day to go on this person's social media page and let them know what I think about it." Like it's like you and your fucking socialist friend, like you are gonna bankrupt this country. Why are you always asking for a handout? I'm like, dude, like it just unfriend him. Like, and I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about this guy. I'm like, if he's posting on his own social media page, why are you still friends with him? Then, guy, just ignore the notifications. But he wants to come and yeah, he said some crazy shit. You had another buddy who would say some other crazy stuff. The one that changed his name. he doesn't want to be known that he's Latino or something. I don't know what it was, but
I don't know. I don't know what that one is.
The
one. Yeah, okay, the one that you had the back and forth on. Yeah, but if you ever noticed it, it's only like usually one or two people, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times where I'm just like, I'm hoping, like when I add shit to it, I'm trying to be a dick, right? But sometimes when I'm just putting sharing the thing that he said about it is like, hey man, look, he said this.
Food for thought.
And people still deny that.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to hope that like a little bit, like the bullet with like the old school cable, right? I pierce through the bullshit. And like I get one person like, hey man, because I just don't understand that level of fanaticism. You know what I mean? Like I get it for you know what I mean, for sports. And there's no life or death with that, right? Like we're just watching one team score more than the other. Doesn't matter. Real Madrid, Barcelona. You know what I mean? Like
Barcelona's definitely better. We know that.
No, that's why they're cutting their team's pay. First of all, what the fuck is that? How do you cut your team's pay during a pandemic?
So is the NBA.
What?
The NBA is about to start cutting the checks or minimizing what they're paying their players. It's in the contract.
I wish they would, but they're not.
It's in the contract due to, I mean, the word pandemic's not in there, but I forget what the clause is, but it's there.
If any league's gonna do it, it's not gonna be the NBA. Those players hold way too much power.
Yeah, that's the NBA. No, the Players Association will not let that happen, bro. No.
Maybe football.
They'll try. Football.
Like crap.
The NFL does everything. Yeah, whatever they want.
Yeah. Football, what to do is just cut them all and re-sign them for a restructured deal in September or some shit. Fuck, they don't give a fuck about football, brain trauma and all. But I'm trying to be better about it today. It was just funny because Trump literally enlisted socialism yesterday, so I was like, I gotta troll here. Like I can't let this Ali not oop it. You know what I mean? Like he literally mandated socialism, so it's like I'm rocking this one and this one. But like for the most part, I'm trying to stay off of it, man. Like I don't even try to watch the news. I try to watch like lighthearted, funny shit, just because, dude, it's so stressful just going out to Walmart or fucking Publix, and like I don't want to continue that stress on my social media. So I've appreciated Tiger King memes and you know what I mean, and Carol Baskin and shit talking.
Just to get a break. You like to rile people up and have those debates.
Oh, he does. He definitely likes to stir the pot.
I don't know how you do it. I just can't.
You ever notice like I
wife to stay off of them also, and sometimes she can't help it, and she gets on.
She can't help it. Yeah, dude, I felt bad that your wife was in that like kidnapped kid shit.
She said that you trigger her.
I know. I am her political trigger, but dude, it's yeah, man. I'm trying to be better about. I'm gonna try to be better about it because for the most part, it doesn't solve anything. But sometimes I just kind of like to be a dick. All right, sometimes it's selfish entertainment.
Hey, I got a question. Since you guys have, since Danny has kids, well, they're not school age kids, but well, you might be aware.
Olivia might as well be like a 7th grader, bro. That girl is brilliant.
We have like my youngest son is a 6th grader, and the schools are closed through April 6th, and they've been closed for 2 weeks now, and they might extend that period. So this past week was spring break, whatever, but the week before that wasn't, and then this week coming up is supposed to be a regular school week, but they're closed, and so the schools are doing. Okay, and so what the schools are doing are, because there are a lot of kids here, but I grew up in Miami, so I remember this firsthand. There are kids that the one time they eat is when they go to school, and this has to do with that open letter from Udonis Haslem that I sent you. So if you get a chance to read it, but yeah, like are the school districts opening to provide lunch to kids, because they're doing it here.
Happening in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I can only speak to what's happening in Florida because I mean that's what I know it's happening here. In Miami-Dade, they have 50 schools that are going to be open this week.
Okay.
Right? They're spread out, and you can get online and find out who's giving out
meals,
breakfast and lunch. Right? They did it last week for all the schools. or the week before spring break.
Right.
They did it for all the schools. Any school that was, all the schools were open to pick up an electronic device if you needed it, and to pick up breakfast and lunch.
Okay.
This week, they don't have all the schools open anymore, but you still can get breakfast and lunch if you go to one of those 50 schools that are open across the district. I'm assuming Ohio is going to follow suit because, I mean, yes, a lot of kids do eat in school.
They're already doing it.
And they depend on that. So that is, you just drive up and pick up the meals.
Yeah, no,
now,
it's a
again,
concern.
I don't know how it's going on in Cleveland.
No, I mean, it's just like with anything, right? And on previous shows I've talked about it. In the suburb where I live, you know, we have a pretty good school district, right? That's why you pay the property taxes, higher property taxes for better schools. But
that's an all white district. These are the only minorities in.
Yeah, right. I am. My family makes up the entire minority in this neighborhood. But the truth is that this school is providing kids, you know, meals, because not all kids are fortunate enough to have maybe a parent at home, or parents that can work from home, and the only time that they eat, even in this school district, because you remember Springs, right? Springs, you have 4,200 students, or at your time 4,700 students, but it was made for 2,000 kids. Not everyone lived in Springs that went to that school, right? So a lot of those kids, they're not eating at home. There's no food. They got parents that are working, and you know, over here they're providing meals for them. But that letter from Udonis, that's what he was talking about. You know, you remember the kid that said, "Well, if I get corona, I get corona." The spring breaker. Yeah, some dumb kid. He's some dumb kid from Ohio, by the way. He's a high school graduate from Ohio. Some like 19, 20-year-old on spring break. And if I get corona, I get corona. And so Udonis wrote a letter to, you know, because everyone's covering Miami and spring break, and that's not the real Miami. He talks about he grew up in Liberty City. The real Miami is, you know, you don't see it. It's kids in the inner city who go to school, and the only time they get to eat is when they go to school, that breakfast and lunch, or when they have activities, because they go home to like a violent household, and so what we're seeing is not the real Miami in the news, you know. And so I was just wondering what other places we're doing as we're shutting things down, as schools are getting shut down for an unspecified amount of time. Over here they're doing it, but even here in Cleveland, like if you go deeper into the city, in the inner city, not every school district, or you know, has the same capabilities as the schools where we're at.
Same level of money.
They don't have the same money. They just don't. They don't get the same amount of money. So
I mean, I don't know how they're gonna do it in Ohio. Down here, at least in Miami-Dade County, I don't know how Broward or Orange County or Hernando or any of those places are working. But in Miami-Dade County, they're making sure that they have 50 schools open and that they can feed any child that goes over there and picks up food. Like what they did was they did it for a week. They had all the schools open, and every day they had a count of how many people came to pick up food. After they had that count, they worked with that over the last week during spring break, and they know how many more or less they have to have per school, right? Per region.
Right.
And so they should be well equipped to feed everybody this week coming up.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was just wondering, because Ohio was one of in New York, there were some of the places that took action right away with shutting businesses and schools down, and so the schools here were ready to give out food. They didn't do it this past week because we're on spring break. They're gonna pick up again next week. I mean, we're fortunate that we don't have to go because we have food, and we're at home. Not everyone is in that situation though.
Then Ohio is working different than Miami because we were giving out food even during spring break.
Oh, were you? I mean, to tell you the truth, I don't know, because we didn't even go the week that they handed out food, because it's just we didn't have to. We weren't in that situation. Other kids, other parents are. So, but from what so maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But
I know. Obviously, I'm the one here with no kids, but the high school, small town, they're doing breakfast and lunch. I think they were doing it all through spring break, and they're doing it. They're going to continue to do it, right? Because it's a small town. It's a very poor area. You know what I mean? For the most part. So they're going. The kids need that assistance, and I think they're even trying to have enough food to feed the parents. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the parents here are out of work and stuff like that. So they're trying to have a little bit more to be able to at least accommodate for that, because you know a lot of people here are out of work. A lot of people here, it's older demographics who are on a fixed income and shit like that. So it's a lot of moving pieces, man. Where I really don't know where the balance is all going to come from. So we'll see, man. Well, this is 2.5 hours strong. This is a fight companion, bitches.
This is a fight companion. Well, yeah.
This is a COVID companion. That's what we're gonna call this. Episode 1A, COVID companion. Dude, it's so wild, man. Think about all the conversations we have now that 6 weeks ago weren't even a thing, bro. 4 weeks ago weren't even a thing. 3 weeks ago, what?
Could you have imagined this just in February, like on Valentine's Day? It's like,
No.
hey, before the end of March, everybody's gonna be locked inside their home because they're told to. Like, you can't go out. Everything's closed.
No.
Like, I would have never imagined this.
No.
Yeah,
Dude,
I never thought that would happen in my lifetime. That the government would say, "Stay in your house. You can't come out for 2 weeks, a month, whatever."
Like Jonathan, when he was supposed to drive down, I think we were talking like at the beginning of March, like I think the second or third, man, and then like by the fourth or fifth, we're like, I was like, Jonathan, I don't know if you're gonna be able to, bro. Like, and that was like when things weren't even like popped off yet. It wasn't like the Rudy Gobert. This was like a week before things really got crazy, because things got crazy like the week of my birthday, like a couple of days before, right? Or it was like I think like that Thursday before was when the Gobert thing popped off, and then that Tuesday or something, whatever was my birthday. Where like a couple of days in, like this just like this tidal wave just hit, this constant tidal wave just hit so quick, and like you kind of saw it coming, but you weren't really prepared. We're like, oh, that wave looks a little high, and then now we're still waiting for it, but all it is doing is just mounting. It's wild, man. It's wild.
Yeah, man.
But everybody, we gotta stay safe, stay away from people, and watch plenty of fucking Netflix.
That's good.
Well,
I don't
Netflix
like people anyway.
banking right now.
Oh, Netflix. They're hating the fact that they give away multiple accounts.
Yeah, speaking of giving away multiple accounts, I'm gonna have to check my Twitter account because I got an email notification saying some motherfucker logged in from London, and I'm not in London. No. I can tell you that. No.
You got fucking hacked, boy.
God damn it.
I'm getting notifications that like my Spotify getting logged in. What the fuck? I haven't logged into my Spotify because I stay logged in.
That happens to me all the time with my PlayStation. I don't even take any action. I'm like, why the hell would anybody want to get into my PlayStation? I just okay, whatever. So
you got to be careful.
My username, I have no idea.
Hopefully they're better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But if you have a payment connected to your PlayStation for whatever, like a payment card or something, that shit could get exploited.
No, I mean, I guess I paid for online services once a year.
Yeah, if your payment card's on there, they have it. Like if you could buy a game on your PlayStation, it's there. So actually thinking about that, might have to cancel that or some shit. Shit's getting wild.
Yeah,
I canceled like different bills. I canceled a bunch of different shit. Like I'm changing my stuff around because like, you know what I mean. Like you just don't know what's gonna happen. So I'm trying to minimize my my monthly bills. So I canceled different shit. Just that you usually don't think about. But man, with everything changing, you gotta be smart about the money. Like I was telling Manny, Danny's cousin, like they're doing like the mortgage thing. I know, Jonathan, you refinanced.
Yeah.
But the mortgage, like for whatever it's called, like the mortgage help isn't like a help at all because you have to like talk to them and make sure they're not a company that like, let's say if you back it up for 4 months, when that 4 months is up, you have to have that 4 months of rent or mortgage
at once. Yeah.
It's not gonna be,
which makes no sense. So what was the point of backing it up?
There's no point in it. It's the worst possible thing you could do.
So you're supposed to like that's why accumulating that money anyway. I would have just paid it by then.
Yeah, exactly. You're probably gonna get evicted. It'll probably push it back, right? Because like my mortgage is $1,600, right, or whatever. You times that by 4. I'd have to have that. What is that? $6,400. I'd have to have $6,500 in what is it? July. I'm not gonna. How do you have that if you don't have money or if you're not working? Like so, there's no help. So I'm hoping that Manny and Jose, you know what I mean, figured that out and asked more questions than just saying yes. Give me this 4 months gap, because no company is gonna help you in that way. They want their money. They don't give a fuck about you.
How does your job work? Like your job is just regular. Like you don't got any worry about anything.
My job right now is a weird thing. It's like right now I'm hurt, right? So it's like I'm getting like workers' comp or whatever.
Oh, that's right.
But yeah, fucked my arm up. So got that good stuff going. So as of right now, like everybody, if there's cases, people will work it. You know what I mean, and things like that. So that hasn't changed because we're deemed an essential company, like an essential company, essential business for healthcare. So it's gonna continue going until they say everything shuts down. But you know what I mean? Every day, like when I worked, like that day that I worked, it was mass stressful, yo. Because like you're staying away from people, you know what I mean? You're staying away from people. You're hoping that the check-in for the patient is done right and that they're doing this stuff right and that patient doesn't have a cough or a fever because they're getting screened at the door. So it's like all these moving pieces where it's like, and I'm talking to like multiple coworkers, and they're like, "Yo, this is madness." Like like I'm the only person here. Like 90% of the staff is gone, and it's all skeleton crew. Like what skeleton crew, which is like the least amount of people in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what if something happens and all this other stuff? It's just wild, man. Like my friends send me pictures from hospitals that are normally there'll be like 4 or 5,000 people in there because there's this massive hospital in whatever state, and they're like, yo, there's like nobody here, man. Like this is crazy. And then they're like giving there's like a whole different set of procedures and all this other stuff. But hospitals also have to continue going because they rely on those health insurance payments and those co-pays and all that stuff to pay their bills. So hospitals can't exactly shut down. So this stuff it's a multi-layered, multifaceted thing, man, where I don't know, bro. Like I have no idea. It's insane.
Are you guys as teachers? They tell you to prepare to give like virtual lesson plans or use Google Classroom more?
Yeah,
Or...
I mean, I technically don't have students. I'm over the math department.
Okay.
So today actually I had a meeting with all my algebra teachers, and I kind of went over the lessons that we're gonna go over for the next month, and kind of like how to use it, what to assign, and how we're gonna go about grading. Like we can't really do attendance, so how we're gonna go about grading, and that's basically what we're gonna do. And then I showed them the Zoom program, like as we were going, like how to screen like a problem and how to work with it. Like you can annotate over the screen and show it to the students as they're watching.
Right.
So we kind of did that, and that's how we're gonna work for the next month. We're supposed to go back April 15th. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Probably not.
So then, and I told them that if it doesn't go back, what we're gonna do in May, we're gonna use a different program. So yeah, we're preparing to go online.
Okay. Yeah, because I think Zoom is limited, right, to the amount of hours you can stream or have conferences.
Because of what's going on with our education login, they're letting us use it like
okay,
for free.
Unlimited.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are other free ones out there that are pretty much like Zoom. I was actually testing it in case the software that we're using right now for our podcast didn't work out. So there's something called like free teleconference. And I don't know what the website is.
Microsoft's Teams is what they're pushing in the district.
Okay.
That's what we use for our work.
Oh yeah. You can't annotate on the screen as you're sharing though, which is why I like Zoom.
Nope.
As doing math, it's helpful to be able to write out as a student seeing it.
Right.
But Microsoft Teams is what they're really pushing for us to use.
Yeah, that's the thing when you're working with within a bureaucracy, just like I do. You have to use whatever the agency or says you have to use, dictates you have to use. So.
Right. So we're straying away and using Zoom instead, but we'll see how long they tell me that we have to change that, whatever.
Okay.
Now, we get that. I don't know. In my position, if we stay virtual, they're not gonna need me next year.
Jesus.
Because so I hope that this is like, this year and then next year everything's back to normal. Because
that's actually what I was about to ask you is like what happens if this rolls into the next school year?
Right. Because
like
my position is like I'm in charge of the math department. I go and I help teachers. I model lessons. New teachers, I help with them a lot. I prepare what they're going to teach and stuff. But if we're going straight virtual, my position isn't really necessary.
I mean, it is, right? But you can if you can argue for your position, right? That you can train them through Zoom or do virtual training for them and all this.
Right, but I don't know if you can justify 40 hours a week for that,
But are you doing? Yeah, I know you're right. Are you doing? Essentially, are you like a trainer type of where you run the math department, but you also kind of train these teachers?
I'm somewhere between a teacher and an administrator. I'm somewhere in the middle, where everything in the math department goes through me. If teachers have an issue that are in the math department, they come to me. I talk to parents. So but I'm not an administrator for the school. I'm just over the math department.
Right.
I have APs that I report to, or the principal or whatnot. So, but that's something that Miami-Dade does. I don't know if other districts or states do it, but again, virtually, I did that today, and now they're off. Okay, go teach your kids. What do I do? I keep getting paid, but
no.
Yeah,
that's crazy to think about. I mean, maybe you have to go back into maybe being a teacher. Can you go back to that, or
if is that even optional? Of course, that's what I'm going to try to do.
Yeah. Which might realistically be a thing until I think I'm thinking maybe early next year, man. Maybe after winter break, they come back. Because I don't understand how they would be able to come back any times earlier than that. I really don't. I don't know. I have no fucking idea, bro. I just know it's the biggest and best numbers in the smallest and largest sense. That's all I know.
We covered all the numbers, all of them.
We covered all the numbers.
Yeah.
I have the best. Nobody's ever seen numbers like this.
No.
No. I mean, that's a good way to end it, man. That was a good fucking podcast, boy. All the numbers.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, man. Thanks for hanging.
The best guest ever. It's a
Okay.
beautiful time.
And he's got all
Never
the
seen a
numbers,
guest
right?
like-
He's over the math department, so you got all the numbers.
Yeah.
You got all the numbers. You're the man of that shit. You're the man of the numbers. All right, son. Thanks for coming on, man.
It was a pleasure, sir.